Your angel of death awaits. Oh, that is an awesome pop. I need it in my life.
I
Need
know,
it so
right?
much. Jeez, that's such a good pop. Oh man, I forgot about that. I think you when you got it, you sent a picture to me or you put it a post it online, but beautiful. That's
Oh,
right,
you better
guys.
believe it.
Yeah.
When I found out this was available, I was like, I
Need
will
it.
own this.
Mhm.
I will own this
It
pop.
will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine. What's happening, guys? It's been far too long since we've done a Batman the Fan-imated stream, and here we are back to talk about this freaking chef's kiss of a movie. With me, as
I
always,
still,
of course,
I,
Scott. How you doing?
mm,
Mm-mm.
I can't even wait. I'm just ready to talk. Even though I'm still wearing the same shirt from last night.
Nice.
I totally plan on putting on my Mask of the Phantasm shirt.
Yeah.
I've had a day, man. Like it
Yeah.
just didn't happen. It just
I've had a
didn't
day
happen.
myself. I was and then I was actually gonna do a little laundry because I got that Batman the Animated shirt that I was gonna wear, the shadow of and I was like, crap. And I had to deal with like a kitchen issue with some buggies that I had to like pull out the refrigerator, do all this kind of stuff. So then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna wear the fat bat. And then I thought, why not wear this headgear right here? Why not? It's
I've
perfect.
got I've got my Batman mug with my lemon zinger tea because damn, I still can't get over this
Yes,
crap.
you're fighting some lung issues. I know you're talking
Oh
about
yeah,
that. Yep, I got a little bourbon still too in my little Batman glass, of course, my new drinking glass, and a beer because I thought, you know what, why not? So
I even bought some special beer tonight. Like it was called like Rogue Dead Ale. Like it had a skeleton on it and everything. I was ready to go. And now, like with our powers combined, we have a hottie toddy. I'm just
pretty much. That's right. That's right. Hey, who's out there? All right. Let's see who's out there. We got Nate's right here. This is my favorite Batman animated movie. You know what? Me and Scott kind of consider it just a movie. It doesn't have to be, even though
it's
it's
actually
animated.
it's actually my favorite Batman movie. Period. Stop.
See, there it is.
This is it for me.
Yeah. So there you go. Amari, I should say. Bruce putting on
Oh,
the mask. Oh yeah. Oh, that's probably the scene we'll watch.
oh,
Just
of
saying,
course it is
because
the scene we'll watch.
it's I literally in my notes put the scene. Yes, I just was like, because that's what it is. It's the scene. It's the pinnacle Batman scene when Bruce becomes Batman, and we're gonna, of course, nerd out about it like crazy.
Easy.
And then we got Gooseneck right here, my favorite Batman movie. I still have the VHS in my drawer. Oh, yep, that's
The
it.
clamshell. I still have.
Yes.
I have. That's going to be one of the little fun facts. There's so many fun facts we're going to talk about before we even start talking about the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
That's one of my fun facts.
Yes. I must ask where to get the T-shirt that Scott was wearing on the Vodka stream. Was it that shirt? That
This
is,
shirt.
yes, that is us. You could find it down below in my in the Film Junkie shop, the Film Junkie closet, I should say. Go ahead and get yourself one. A Batman the Fan-imated shirt. You can wear us on your chest.
By the way, Declan, it just gets this shit-eating grin on his face every time I wear it now, and he goes, "Your friend has robin eyes."
Robin eyes. I love it. That's so funny. Evening, Mr. Venom. Good to see you. We got, of course, Eric right here. Who would, I know you said, you wrote out Angela, but you meant Andrea. I get it. But yeah, who would play a good Andrea in like live
Ooh.
action? I don't know. We got to have somebody with red hair. Can't say Amy Adams. She's already, even though she would have been a good one. I don't know. That's a good one. I'm trying to think like who could. Anya Taylor Joy.
No, you know what? You know what? I was almost thinking more like an Emma Stone type.
Yeah, more like an Emma Stone. I could see that. I'm just trying to think of all the redheads, and there's not many to think of. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like Emma Stone, so I'm with you on that one.
She's sassy
Oh,
enough. She's sassy enough to do it.
true that. Hey, what's going on? I'm a film junkie here. The Dodger game is about to start, Dodger fans. Oh, it's ride or die tonight. Ooh, not starting off well. Mookie struck out. Anyways, I'm not going to get distracted by that. Don't worry. We're going to have plenty of
You
Batman.
better not.
I
This
know.
is sacrosanct
I know. It's just like,
material
I was
tonight.
like, oh, damn, of course the playoff game starts right when we're on, like starting the stream. But don't worry. It'll be in the background. It'll be okay. Let's see. I love this. My dad got it for me when I was a kid. It was the first time he bought me a movie brand new from the store.
Oh,
Oh,
that is amazing. I love that.
these stories like that, because I remember, because my dad was, always like in the army. He was in the army, so he didn't live in the same state, or he was, sometimes he'd be overseas or something like that. And when he was visiting, I remember strictly like this was appointment, like he was in town for like a month or maybe 2 weeks or something like that. And I remember going to the Carousel Theater to watch this, just me and my dad, because we loved of course, the animated series so much. So we had to watch this movie. So it was great. It was great. Yeah, thank you, Mom. Yeah, it's good. She got it for me like Christmas.
Yeah.
Ahoy, ahoy, Mr. Jason. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining on in. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about this movie. Man, I tell you what, rewatching this movie, I just forgot the feels that it. Yeah.
My problem is now I watch it and it's just like I'm literally like I'm quoting every line. Like I have watched this movie so many damn times.
Yeah.
No, we've talked about this before, but I actually did not see this in theaters.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, because it was literally Christmas Day of 1993.
That's right. That's what it was. Christmas. He was in town for Christmas on leave. There you go. Thank you.
But then for me, it's like that's not a time that my family would go watch movies in the theater. Like we just didn't do that. However, this movie coming out, because I remember it was the Eastwood Festival Center movie theater that we used to go to, and they had a brochure about upcoming movies. That was the brochure leading up to Mask of the Phantasm when I first discovered that Mark Hamill was the voice of the Joker. I did not know until this movie came out that Mark Hamill was the voice and I remember going to my dad going, Luke Skywalker's the Joker? It blew my 11-year-old mind. I was just like, and my dad knew because he saw some like HBO special in a hotel room because he was a salesman and he saw a special. And so he saw one of those deals of Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill going back and forth. And he was like, oh, yeah, you didn't know? And I'm looking at my dad going, like the 11-year-old version of you.
Seriously, Dad? Seriously? I'm trying to remember when I found that out. I didn't find it out with this. I found it out when the first season was happening. I just don't remember. But I remember being blown away. Me and my brother were blown away by it because, I mean, Jesus Christ, how many times did we watch freaking Star Wars and, played Star Wars and pretended to do lightsaber fights and all this kind of stuff. And then just to be blown away by what? Luke Skywalker is laughing like that? What? It's insane. It's crazy. And my God, is he so good in this?
Oh my God. This is almost peak Mark Hamill. I will go ahead and say that for me, the peak Mark Hamill as the Joker is Batman Beyond Return of the Joker.
He goes for it there. Yeah.
He swings for the fences in that movie.
He does. And yeah, man, I mean, I tell you, and even the voice talent. I mean, the voice talent, of course, is what we like to talk about when it comes to this movie too. And I mean,
so who'd you recognize, by the way? So before I lay you down some knowledge, who do you recognize?
I recognize I don't know his name, but Arthur. I know it's Ellis from Die Hard. I just know that voice.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that is Ellis from Die Hard. Because I've watched Die Hard so many times, so I'm like, oh yeah, that's Ellis right there. I can't remember his name. I know the Phantasm is Stacy Keach because that voice, goddamn that voice. Yeah, such a good voice, and it's just so recognizable. And then also, he's also Mr. Beaumont,
Carl Beaumont.
Couldn't remember. Yeah, he's also that too. And then of course,
which is a great red herring they do, where they make the dad the voice of the Phantasm.
Exactly, because it kind of throws you off a little bit. But that, of course, like now that we already know the twist, but I mean, imagine watching it fresh and just kind of going, oh yeah. I mean, if you looked it up on IMDb, you'd be like, yeah, it's Stacey. He's doing both voices, so obviously it's the dad. But it's a nice little thing that they did there. And then Abe Vigoda. I recognize him too as Sal.
I'm so I was like, if you didn't recognize Abe Vigoda, Vigoda. But you know what the funny part is? He plays Sal Valestra in this movie. You know who he played in Godfather?
Sal somebody probably.
Sal Tessio.
There you go. Yeah. So
Because
it
he's
was
in
just meant to be.
It was meant to be because
Yeah.
he's in part 1 and part 2 of The Godfather.
Yeah, I gotta revisit that trilogy. That's cool. Yeah, but I recognize that. And then Dana Delaney, of course, playing Andrea. I mean, anybody knows it. Tombstone is probably the most recognizable. Like I remember her from. I mean, she's been in many other movies that were on late night on Cinemax. If you know.
Oh
Anyway.
yes, there was one with like Dan Aykroyd and Rosie
Yes.
O'Donnell.
Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden.
Oh, wow! I'm proud and yet also,
dude, come on, man.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
We're of the age. We're of the age.
Has my mom left yet? There was times where it's like, oh, you look in the TV guide and you go, oh, look what's going to be on HBO at 10 o'clock tonight. I gotta somehow figure out how to watch this thing. Yeah. And
then of course 2 years later she'll be Lois Lane in Superman the animated series.
Yep, she ends up being the voice of Lois Lane in Superman. But yeah, she was in Tombstone. That's another thing I remember her from. She's been in a lot of things, but yeah, I don't know. Is there anybody else besides that?
No, that really does exhaust. I mean, Dick Miller is Chucky Saul.
Okay, Dick Miller. Who's that? Dick Miller.
He's that guy.
Oh, okay. He's one of those. If I see him, I'll be like, oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. And man, yeah, some good voice talent in here. And man, I mean, is there anything else we should? What other fun facts should we know before we jump into this thing?
Okay, I have a few.
Exit to Eden. That's what it was called.
Exit to Eden. Yes. Yeah. Okay, who remembered that? Who? Who?
Oh, it was Adam.
Remember that?
It was Adam Fink. He remembered that. It was Exit.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good.
It was a funny movie, but man, a lot of nudity. A lot of nudity in there because it's Dan Aykroyd and Rosie O'Donnell. They're like, trying to break into this resort that, again, a lot of nudity. Anyway, a lot of nudity.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So fun things to know. Personally, I will admit that I have owned every version of media that this movie has been released on since the clam. I mean, I had the clamshell VHS that came with the comic book adaptation, in the clamshell. Yeah.
Yep.
I had the DVD that had the old Warner Brothers snap. I hated those DVD cases.
Sucked, man. I hated those too. Those ones because you're like, why is it? Oh yeah, it's got one of those little, extra little buckles on it.
Yeah. But that and this is going to come back to something I'm going to talk about with the Blu-ray. It was one of those DVDs that it was 4:3 on one side, widescreen on the other.
I remember those DVDs. That's right. Yes. I remember
full
those
screen
DVDs.
You got the full screen and the widescreen, and I would almost exclusively play the widescreen version.
Of course. Yeah.
but here's the deal. This is what goes into some of the interesting territory about Mask of the Phantasm. When they released the Blu-ray for the 25th anniversary, because it was a big freaking deal when they finally released this movie on Blu-ray. You could actually, on the menu, when you go play movie, it stops and asks you, do you want theatrical presentation or television presentation?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Because this movie, when it was being developed and first produced, was only going to be produced as a direct-to-video movie. It was during production that Warner Brothers Animation decided to make it a theatrical release. So technically, the movie was produced in 4:3. And then they cropped it to make it 16:9. So actually, when you go to watch this movie, if you want to get the full frame as animated, you should watch the 4:3 television presentation because that was the way it was originally animated.
That's crazy. Did not know that.
Actually, when you on the Blu-ray, when you select television presentation, I already knew this story, but when you select television presentation on the Blu-ray, it actually gives you the whole story. Like, this movie was originally produced for television and thus was presented in a 4:3 format. Like, it's like getting that, this movie is presented in 4:3 to
And that whole jazz, yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
the integrity of the director's vision. They give you that before Phantasm because it
Oh,
reminds you
wow.
that this was done like a television episode, so it was going to be 4:3.
That's pretty crazy. Did not know that. That is crazy, crazy. And yes, Nate, I'm with you. It's criminal. The Phantasm has only made about, he's limited. It's been limited, but I mean, when you think about the story of it, I mean, obviously they've continued it. I don't think I've read any of like the material that he's shown up in the books, or have I? Probably have. I
Okay,
don't know.
so here. Okay,
Okay,
let me.
here we
Okay,
go. Here we go.
here we
Yeah,
go. Here we go.
yeah.
Okay, there was an annual that came out as part of the Batman Adventures, the tie-in comic book.
Yeah, I had that
Uh,
one.
Yeah, because that actually picks up at the end of the movie when Andrea and the Joker disappears. Like, the
Yeah.
annual explains what happened. Like,
Exactly, because that they kind of leave that open ended where it's like, wait a minute, so Joker. Anyways, go ahead.
Joker, yeah. So the annual does that. Kyle Higgins did a run on the Batman Beyond Unlimited comic book that came out in like the like 2013-14 era, and there was an entire Phantasm arc, like
Mm.
Phantasm Beyond. There was like a Phantasm Beyond arc in that book that also dealt with it explored more that very infamous Batman Batgirl relationship that people aren't.
Not really privy to.
Yeah, but Kyle Higgins did a cool thing where he kind of like he fleshed it out a little bit more, and
Okay.
I mean I liked. Kyle Higgins is one of those authors that's like, I'll buy a book purely based on
His name. Yeah.
his name,
Yeah.
and then Tom King brought the was going to bring Phantasm into continuity until Batman Catwoman became basically a black label book,
Yeah.
and so Phantasm shows up in the Batman Catwoman book.
Yeah.
So
See, I had like because how many issues was that book? Because I think I had the first one. 12.
12 issues.
I think I have the first 2 or 3, and then I didn't pick up. But yeah, I remember he was teasing it. I remember him posting on Twitter teasing the Phantasm showing up, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." But yeah, so it ended up showing up in that book. Okay, interesting. But I just imagine like trying to bring. I mean, obviously, Zack Snyder being the awesome dude that he is, and everybody worked on BVS. There is a little Easter egg because Alfred actually says Phantasm in BVS. More like a phantasm or so. I forgot exactly what the line was. You remember what the line was? I totally am drawing a blank right now, but I know he says Phantasm in there, and it was like
yeah, exactly. Trying to think what else. Okay, so the funny thing about the production of this movie, because originally it was just going to be a direct-to-video movie,
yeah.
They were having to produce this movie concurrently with them producing regular episodes of the television show.
Oh wow.
Like, so they were doing the weekly show and this movie at the same time. So if you look at the credits, like it was like a all hands on deck situation. There's like 4 or 5 writers on the movie. There's like Radomski and Tim are listed as the directors of the movie, but then you look at like sequence directors and it's like Kevin Altieri and Bush. Yep. It's the Hall of Fame of everybody we've talked about who's worked on this, because it was like
it's huge.
They were like, it was huge, and it was like, but do this while also putting out at that time episodes that coming out 5 days a week. And it was just it's insane.
Pure madness.
Yeah, but it's also featured in Paul Dini wrote a really great, and I think I've mentioned it before, a memoir graphic novel called A Dark Night. It was about an incident in his life when he got mugged and how it really affected his mental health. And that instance happened during the production of Mask of the Phantasm. So it shows up in that graphic novel because it was during that period of time in his life.
crazy. Jeez, so much back stuff, so much trivia and stuff like that. So much things behind all this stuff. But I'm just still blown away by the fact that I'm like, oh yeah, they probably just thought it was just going to go direct to video, but the fact that it was like got this theatrical. I'm wondering what the box office actually was on this.
It was terrible.
I'm sure it was.
It was terrible.
I totally was like, oh yeah, Christmas Day. I totally was like thinking it was like during the summer, but I'm like, no, you're right. It came out on Christmas. I don't think we saw it Christmas Day. I think it was probably like whenever, it's probably like a day after or a couple days after. But I remember, yeah, we had to go see this movie. And man, is there anything else? Should we just jump right into it?
One more thing. One more thing. It is important to note that the Phantasm is inspired by the character of the Reaper, who appears in the Batman Year 2 arc in the comics.
Okay. Don't fear the Reaper. Yeah, sure. It's interesting. All right. Yeah, good. I like that. But just jumping into this, man, I mean, Shirley Walker's score. Jesus Christ. It is like, it's just amplified. I mean,
they have a choir.
They have a choir. It's so beautiful. Oh, God, I just got goosebumps. Just, and then the opening sequence, the buildings are in 3D as the credits are rolling.
It was like, hey, we've got some more money.
We'll
do a 3D computer generated sequence, and all we do is pass by buildings. Like it's nothing fancy. It's just buildings.
It's just Gotham City, and they're rolling the credits, and you're just hearing that just epic score. I mean, it's so amplified. And that was the first note I put is opening with the beautiful score, 3D buildings. And I was like, wow. I just was like, going, oh man, I forgot how and that's what's so great. Like, when you have like an animated show and they do a movie, you can always tell, it happened with The Simpsons and Family Guy and South Park, and anything that's animated gets a theatrical release or gets that movie budget. DuckTales, same thing. I mean, that animation just gets so just finely tuned. And then, obviously the animation is top notch in this movie. It's
actually, I'm gonna
really
that. Yes.
Really?
I'm going to point out the fact that we have watched episodes of the regular show that have better animation than this movie does.
Okay. I mean, I will say okay.
And if there's anything I will criticize this movie for, and it ain't much, it's going to be the fact that there are episodes that look better than this movie.
Okay, because there's some good close-up shots in this.
Oh no, there's moments.
There's moments. Okay, because there was one particular moment where I was like, why? And it's it's in the first it's when Bruce has a little shindig at his house. Yeah, you got all the girls around him, and one of the girls, her eyes are completely black, there's no pupil, and it was no.
Miss Bambi is dancing on the piano.
But I was just weird. I was like, why is her eyes it's all pupil? What's going on here? But before that, yes, we of course have to have an opening action scene. And another thing I noticed when it came to having, the bigger budget, man, talk about some Dick Tracy sounding punches and sound effects.
My God. I know, it's like, boom. Two things that sound completely different in this movie than they ever do in the series. Yeah. And it just has sunk into my psyche is the punches and the grappling gun sound.
I mean, it sounds super high tech, and you hear that thing like that. Yeah, the sound effects, man. They totally. That was the first thing I put Dick Tracy sounds because I was like,
oh my God,
reminding me of Dick Tracy's punches, man. Yeah,
Batman flies in and it's like boom, boom, yeah, and then the gunshot. Man, we got some guns going. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Dude, okay, so standards and practices,
out the window.
Out the freaking window with this movie, because we have deaths, we have blood, we have alcohol, we have cigarettes.
Smoking? Yes. Cigars?
Yes. It is like, this is like, I'm sure like this is what, Paul Dini and Bruce Tim wanted to do this. They were like, oh, we're going to put what we want to put in this. We're throwing all that out the window. This is the movie you want. I mean, this movie is rated PG, right? It's not PG-13.
Yeah. No, this
Okay.
movie's PG. It's PG, and it's only an hour and 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is the kind of movie though. So this is a great movie for pointing out the fact of runtime doesn't matter if the story is like, if this is what the movie was made to be. This thing doesn't even make 90 minutes.
It doesn't even make 90 minutes, but it's so good.
It's so good. It's basically the link. If you take out the opening credits and the closing credits, it's basically 3 episodes.
That's true. I was thinking about that. I was like trying to break it down. I'm like, yeah, it's essentially 3 episodes all combined in one. So it's like a 3-part episode. And yeah, you're right. I mean, but it's just, I was actually surprised too, because I was like, when I was trying to, I was cleaning my kitchen and everything like that today. And then I was going and trying to get other things done, nurturing that hangover too. The fact that I was like, all right, when do I need to make, have a good amount of time to watch and take notes? I'm like, I think is it an hour and a half or is it longer? I couldn't remember. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's only an hour and 16 minutes. I'm like, shit. I mean, and it flows so great.
Oh, this sucker moves.
This really just moves. Like all of a sudden it's like, it's opening scene, and next thing you know, we're back at the world tomorrow, and the Joker and the Batman's punching those damn planes, and blood's coming out of his knuckles. Yes, sorry, or I'm getting ahead.
It's fine because we got Chucky Saw in the casino.
Yeah,
I mean, and also this story is mature. Like there are things they talk about in this movie that I didn't even understand what the plot was. Like, I know they're talking about counterfeiting and money laundering. Like, that's the plot at the beginning of the movie. Like it's. And then Batman comes in, they're shooting the table. I love how he just flips the table. Oh man, that table sounds like it weighs like 30 pounds when it like smacks on top of that guy.
And then I love the little when he walks by and he goes stomps on it to knock the guy out. Just like, hey, you're still yeah, you're still awake. Well, nope, not anymore. And he just kind of like stomps on it. I love that. And then of course we get our, oh man, Shirley Walker's theme, like when the Phantasm shows up, it's a
that theremin.
Yeah, it's yes, it's just got that horror vibe to it because obviously, I mean, it's supposed to be freaky. I mean, you got this. I mean, look at the mask. Look at all the the mist, the fog,
the scythe, basically on the right hand. Oh.
Jeez. I mean, I was just listening. I was like, man, that score just gives horror vibes big time. Music. That's what I said. Music's like a horror movie. Your angel of death awaits. Stacy Keach, of course, saying that name. Oh,
and that weird fog mist stuff. That's just, as soon as you see the fog rolling in, you're like,
you're screwed.
You're screwed.
You're done. You're done. But then, of course, what's cool about that, though, because it, even though obviously the Phantasm, when you look at them, at first you go, or look at her, I should say.
I know, right?
I'm
Spoiler alert.
Phantasm. Yeah. No, but like, and that's what's part of the plot of this is the fact that, from a distance, you think it's Batman, then that's what's, that's what ends up happening. And oh man, we get just I always love it when the cops chase Batman. It's always just a fun little thing that's been throughout the whole, the whole run. It's just the cops chasing Batman. It's been in the movies, but man, when the cops chase Batman in this one,
okay, we'll get there.
I know. I keep getting ahead of myself, but I'm just saying
because there's so much good stuff in this movie. I know.
That's the thing because part of the plot is the fact because even when it comes to Chuck right here, he thinks it's Batman at first too. Shoots at him.
Everyone thinks it's Batman.
Yeah, everybody thinks it's Batman. Yeah.
Because the cape, it's as far as they're concerned, it's a dude in a cape.
Yeah.
And, the cape has got that weird pattern on it, just like Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're standing back in the shadows, well, who else dresses like that?
Exactly. You
but Batman.
Automatically go to Batman. And then, I mean, there's a whole little sequence that happens. And, Chuck don't make it.
I mean, he drives his car off a parking deck into a building.
Yeah.
And then you just hear the horn. And I love how they never show you
They don't
But you
show
know but the guy's just dead. Like
I mean, I think there's only one person they really show that is dead in this, and we'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, they do a good job of just like, hey, you get it, right? Like, no one's gonna survive a car flying at, I mean, you watch
this isn't Furious 7.
exactly. You watch Fury 7, yeah, they made it, but not Chucky. No, he didn't make it. He did not make it with this, and
He always was a loser.
yeah, apparently, according to some of his buddies. But yeah, and it was just like, and I was just like going, oh yeah. I was thinking, I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, all right, there's death in this. I totally just having that refresher. I'm like, oh yeah, obviously the plot is all about like all these dudes getting offed that were associated with her father. I was like, yeah, I'm loving it. I love that. PG, gotta love it. I almost could have swore that it might have been a PG-13, but just because of the blood that we see too, and I'm like, oh, beat up Batman, beat up Joker.
We're still in early 90s. We can still get away with stuff. It's like,
yeah, that PG-13 rating, right? And then of course, when we have Batman, he finds the glass, doing this detective work, finds a little residue on it, doing all that. But then of course, we get introduced to Councilman Arthur Reeves.
Douchebag extraordinaire.
Which you just know right away. I mean, and then of course, like I said, it's a voice of the dude that did Ellis in Die Hard. So that's just a perfect, when it comes to that.
He has a line that I swear it wasn't until like the past 5 years that I even realized what he was saying.
Which line?
It's vigilantism. It's vigilantism at its deadliest. When I was a kid, I had no idea what that guy was saying but I mean, I was like, vigilantism at its. I don't think I ever heard the word dead. Like I couldn't understand him saying deadliest. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of like little words, like the way they pronounce them. Like as a kid, I was like, what did he say? I also don't think I even knew what vigilantism. I don't think I even knew that word.
That was one of those words where you're like, wait, that sounds cool, but what exactly is it? But I will point out another thing too, is like when it comes to this story, I mean, it's obviously what's so good about it is just the flashbacks and Bruce struggling, with the past and everything like that. But Gordon is
like he shows up twice in this entire movie.
He is not in this movie a lot. He's not, and I was like, oh yeah, Gordon is just. I mean, he's essentially he pushes back against Arthur, and he wants nothing to do with like the hunt for him. I mean, obviously we get to a scene a little bit later where he goes like, hey, you want him? You get him. He goes, the Batman doesn't kill, which of course is very emphasized when it comes to all this, because obviously these guys are getting off. And he's like, no, that's not my boy. It's not my boy.
Once he walks out the door, he's gone for the rest of the movie.
You don't even see him. Yeah. I was like, wow. I just totally was like, forgot like how little Gordon
Bullock's in this movie more than Gordon is.
He is. We see a younger, of course, Bullock when he's wearing like a full-on policeman, uniform.
He's a beat cop.
Yeah, we get to see that, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so and then I love there's a good line. There's of course, good exchange. When we get to the Bat Cave and when Bruce and Batman are talking. And Alfred's watching, obviously, the news broadcast about all this and how Batman, is in the insanity of it all. And he goes, I don't know what he's saying, sir. You're the very model of sanity.
By the way, I put away your I washed your tights. I pressed your tights and put away your exploding gas balls. I love the way they animate Bruce going, thank you, Alfred. Alfred has some of the best lines in this movie.
Oh, we get some of those good Alfred talks, especially at the end.
He has the number one Alfred comeback for me in this movie.
Oh,
it's the one. Yeah, it's the one later on where you go, you think you know everything about me, don't you, Alfred? I diapered your bottom. I bloody well ought to, sir. That's one of those lines. It's like,
yeah,
you go.
You get it, Alfred. You tell him what's up. Because Bruce gets a little frisky. He gets a little,
Yeah, but I still love that one. By the way, I pressed your tights and put away your exploding gas balls.
Yeah, Alfred, you know, he has some good comebacks, good talks in this movie. And also he seems to always you know, want to come into the room and Bruce is kissing you know, Andrea. Not in the room or the yard, whatever it is. He always seems to show up like, oops, yep, trying to
Yep.
move
I'm gonna
around.
go. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
back this way. Yep.
you know, happens twice, you know, flashback and present day where he's just like, oh, yep, there he is. He's getting him some. All right. The
Oh,
two will
by the
wait.
way, another standards and practices. Bruce gets some in this movie.
Yes, she spends the night. Yeah, she definitely does. Yeah. That's another thing too. It's like the implied sex. You know, it's like, hey, there it is. I mean, even like right to the point when it comes and see, this is what I love about the story, and this is where they establish it right here after that whole thing, and then of course we have the party at Wayne Manor, and you know, you got all the girls on Bruce, and you know, and then they start kind of just talking about it, and then that one comes up who was like, you know,
It looks like
they,
Veronica.
it kind
It
of
looks.
does.
I actually think it is Veronica. I
It
mean,
is.
it either is Veronica or they're using her model. That's all I'm saying.
Probably what it is, yeah. But yeah, you're right though. But yeah, she's not too happy because she explains to the other ladies of how he'll wine and dine and blah blah blah. But it's good because it shows you right there that, you know. And then obviously he runs into Arthur and, you know, talks. You know, Arthur gets his little cheeky little comments in when he better than your love life, you know, kind of stuff like that. When everything when he's talking about how his whole thing is going when it comes to being the councilman and everything like that.
Yeah. Thank you for the handkerchief, Arthur.
Yeah, there
You
you
know
go.
where you can stick it.
And then we get a really, and then all of a sudden, you know, Arthur brings up Andrea. You know, what was her name? You know, he does that whole thing like he doesn't know her name. Like he's such a douchebag. Like you know what her name is. You know, obviously he names off different ones, and then he says that, and then of course Bruce just wants. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like when we talk about the masks that Bruce Wayne wears. I mean, obviously he's wearing a mask at this party because he's wearing the Playboy billionaire mask.
What
And then
about
also,
the I word?
yeah, exactly.
What I word? Engagement. By the way, I bet if I'm not mistaken, that is Arlene Sorkin doing that. By the way,
Is it? Okay.
I think it is. If
Okay.
I'm not going to. I'll put money on it. I'm gonna put money on it. And say that's Arlene Sorkin as Bambi, right there.
Interesting. I might have to IMDb that. No, but that's what I like about this is like because when he goes into the room where the portrait of his parents are, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, obviously he's very scarred. You know, he's very scarred when it comes to this. He doesn't, you know, the pain of losing his parents, he doesn't want to have that pain again, obviously. And then of course being Batman doesn't help, and then of course they play with that. And this is what I love about this story is the fact that we see the beginnings of Batman, you know, and at the time that he was in love, you know, he was starting this
We
venture.
basically get the animated series version of Batman Year One.
Yeah. Yes, we very much do. And I just love the fact that there's like this love story attached to it because it just adds like another level to it, you know, because present day Bruce is like, yeah, ladies, sorry, yeah, you know, and
I also love the fact that when he closes the door when he goes into a study, he's exhausted.
yes.
I love that animation that the
That long face.
Playboy the
Yeah.
Playboy mask is like, oh God. You know, he just can't take it anymore. I love that.
Ding,
Ah,
ding, 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 ding. There you go. You got it. You win a prize. What that prize is, well, we'll figure it out later. Anyways, but yeah, no, I know what you're saying. It's just like it's almost like it's more exhausting being that than being Batman. You know, there's probably that's
yes.
probably and then, but yeah, but I and then of course he's thinking about Andrea, and then he's looking up at his parents. I mean, obviously he would want to find the happiness that they had, but at the same time, you know, the outcome that they had and just being taken away from him, he doesn't. You can see why he pushes people away, and then of course we get our very first flashback. Meeting. Yes, exactly.
And I love it how it's like that old like Humphrey Bogart
Yeah,
1930s. Like we get the we get like the wavy water effect, and we get the choir singing, and it's like flashback people.
Flashback time. And we're of course in the cemetery where Bruce is visiting. And then of course he hears somebody, hey, somebody's talking over here, and there she is. There's Andrea talking to her mother. So this is where they have a good bonding moment because I've never tried to pick up a lady at a cemetery, but it happens. I guess it could happen.
You're not a mentally damaged billionaire.
Yeah, true. And I love how like she knows who he is and stuff like that. And she's like, and then when he walks away, she's like, "Did you see who that was, Mom? That was billionaire Bruce Wayne." It's just like one of those things. Like, wait, what? He's just so confused. Like, huh? I heard my name. What's going on?
Were you talking to me?
Yeah,
no, I was talking to my mother.
Yeah.
I love how what I love about young Andrea is just how matter of fact she is, and she's just like, yeah, I'm talking to my dead mom. You got a problem with that? Like,
yeah.
It's she's so kind of sassy. Like how I don't mean this as a pun, but how animated she is. Like when she's talking to her mom, I really like that. I like the depiction of someone having a very healthy relationship with those that you've lost, and treating them like they're still there, so you can act like they hear you. You're going to talk to them, and I like that because it also kind of shows how Andrea does have this. It shows you how innocent and bubbly she was, so that you can see what she becomes later in the story.
Very true, because she's pretty shut down later on in the story, and yeah, she's very bubbly, very assertive. Like, I mean, obviously,
yes.
she just like later on she shows up at Wayne Manor 3 days later. She's like, "Well, you didn't call me, so I'm here." She's just like, "I like you, so here I am." And they're like, "Damn, girl, you're just like, all right, go for it. Good for you." Because Bruce wasn't going to do it because, he was still young Bruce, little shy guy, didn't know the Playboy persona quite yet.
He's got kind of that.
Yes.
It's interesting. It's like he's got this. I don't know if he's more obsessive or less obsessive, or he's obsessive, but he doesn't quite have. He knows what the mission is, but he doesn't know how he's going to execute the mission.
That's what it is. And that's what he's struggling with too, because he's like, I got to do something. That's why I love that there's a love story. Like he falls in love in the middle of it, because it's just he's just has so many emotions when it comes to all this.
And if you think about continuity with the animated series, this is after the world tour. So he's already been with Zatara and Zatanna. He's already been to Japan and dealt with young Kodakai. So, he's already had all of those experiences. He's back in Gotham. I mean, because as pointed out with the scene, he becomes Batman in this movie. Yeah. So you've got to think about all those experiences that have either been alluded to or have been shown to us through season 1 of the show. All that's happened because he's back in Gotham.
True that. And then after the scene, we get our first little Batman adventure pre-costume, which I love. Again, we can make the correlation with Batman Begins. Obviously, he was still
year one, because even that's pulled from year one.
Exactly, with the ski mask and everything like that. Everything. I mean, that's what's so great about it. And I love how I even wrote. I'm like, he's very vocal. Like, and he's very vocal because like. He even goes, yeah, like he lets it be known that he's showing up to kick your ass. He's not Bat. He doesn't, he's not the Bat yet, where he's just like just popping up and boop,
and he's giving them instructions like,
face
on the ground, arms spread, instead of just being Batman, where he's just gonna kick your ass.
It's just kind of funny just to see like that. I'm like, he's just very vocal. He hasn't found his voice yet, which is shut the fuck up, dude. Just do your thing. You got to just be quiet and just be scary and all this stuff, that's what I love. I love the development. And again, hour and 16 minutes, just, even with these flashbacks, it's like they just do a really good job of being like, look how he was in the beginning. Look at this idiot, wearing a fucking leather jacket and a ski mask and some gloves and shit like that. I mean, look at how ridiculous he looks. This guy's trying to be.
But he's already kind of got the belt. I like that. It's like he
He does have the belt. The utility belt's there. You know, it's got the pouches with all the things that he needs. So that was good because obviously it ends up going into to a point where he has to chase down a truck. Man, he runs fast.
Oh yes, he does. With crates like falling at him, and he jumps on the back of that. He jumps on the back of that trailer.
Yeah,
and he's hanging on for dear life. Another great musical moment because when they get onto the interstate, and there's that it's like this military like drum corps moment, and it just kind of stands out because like, what's that for? I don't care. It sounds cool as shit.
Just sounds really cool. And then again, this is where we see a young Harvey Bullock as a beat cop, obviously in the full-on policeman uniform, who's just sitting in the passenger seat of this cop car, and they see this truck go by with this dude hanging off of it, and then of course it's just like spitting out your coffee kind of thing, and like, and you know, they get in a nice little car accident. I'm like, geez. Oh, good. You know, Bullock lives, obviously, but damn, that was pretty gnarly.
Oh, yeah. Well, because Bruce also gets those, I don't know the technical term for it, but the spiky balls.
Yeah, spiky ball. I don't know. I guess that's a good spiky balls. Why not? I like it.
and he, of course, throws them under the tire. That truck has like a serious thing. And then, you know, and he gets away. And I love it when he's talking to Alfred the next morning because he's all bandaged up because he got beat to shit. And
he almost got squashed. He almost got squashed by that truck when it was on the side. He was headed towards the wall, and it just stops just in time for him to not get squashed. But yeah,
that's so 80s. That's like a John McClane moment right there.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Just big time.
But he's practicing his jujitsu out in the yard. Yeah. Once again, reminds me of that scene in year one where he's like punching the trees.
Yes. I immediately thought that too. I'm like, oh, that's the year one scene right there too. Yeah. I love that. And then of course, Miss Andrea shows up because again, sort of just like, hey, 3 days. What the fuck, dude? I think, you know,
you didn't call.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm just gonna show up. You know,
I love her response when she goes, so you expect every guy you meet to call you up? And the ones who are smart enough to use a phone.
So good. Yeah.
By the way, let's also talk about how well drawn Andrea is in this movie.
Beautiful eyes. Beautiful eyes.
Oh my god. And that little sundress she's wearing in this scene in particular, you know, which is supposed to be like totally sleeveless, except for one scene where they animated it wrong and they gave her sleeves. Did you spot that?
I didn't spot that. No, I didn't.
When they're having their little back and forth and he like trips her up and then jumps on top of her. Like the lines there where the dress is supposed to stop, but when they colored it, they colored her arms like the dress.
Oops. It happens. It happens. But it's a good little back and forth because, you know, again, he's all bandaged up. And I mean, it's funny too, because he's very much in that mode of like, no.
Oh my God. He is so super serious.
Oh yeah.
He's like,
I don't need this right now. Yeah. I don't need this right now. What are you doing here? You know, because I mean, what he's talking about with Alfred, even before that, he's talking about how he needs to be like, you know, he needs to strike fear in his criminals.
Right.
It's like, they weren't taking him seriously. They were laughing.
They weren't afraid of him. They weren't.
Not at all.
Like, he had all the training. He was like, I got all the training. I've got the tools, but they weren't afraid of me. Which is, of course, it's a great setup because that's when he has the, you know, you don't say it in this movie, but this is when you get the criminals are superstitious and cowardly lot moment, where it's like, because we don't get the bat flying into the study moment. But we see the inspiration for that in this movie to where, why does he become the Batman?
Exactly. And then of course, you know, all that's, it's just, again, that's what I love that there's like this love story added into it, because then all of a sudden it's like, at first he's very much like, get out of here, lady. You know, what do you expect from me? Geez, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like, she shows, like, you know, she trips him up a little bit because she's had some, training and whatever. And then of course he just kind of, what is she talking about? Like some kind of something girls training.
Self-defense class for girls.
And he goes, he starts laughing, and I'm like, oh, like Bruce, easy, but this is the 90s, so you won't get canceled for that. Anyways, no, but like, yeah, and then of course he does his little move, and then kind of pins her down, and then boop, first kiss, and then again Alfred. Oops.
And it gets a little hot and heavy. Like that's some making out that's going on right there. Oh, by the way, shout out to Alfred with the black hair. Still nothing on top, but it's black at least.
Been bald forever, but he before the
he used to have some color in that hair.
It's so funny. It's always, they didn't want to put actual hair on him. I wonder if they actually thought about that.
They would have to change the model. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
They don't have to change the model. All they have to do is color the hair differently, and they can keep the same model.
Easy peasy. Yeah, cheap. They were probably like, no, we're not going to give Alfred hair. Stop.
No. Because once again, we're talking about animation. You know how much it's going to cost them to go and redesign a new model?
It probably wouldn't have looked right either, I don't think. I think we're so used to seeing this model of Alfred being with
Bruce, but this is a different young Bruce model. Like,
true,
he does look very young in this movie.
Yes, they did a good job when it came to young Bruce. They very much did, because we've seen young Bruce throughout the obviously with the Zatanna episodes, and then of course the ninja episodes,
Night of the Ninja, Day of the Samurai.
Yes, we saw like some young Bruce. So, but yeah, it was a little bit different, and it doesn't seem like because we made a joke how like Kevin Conroy, like he kind of talked a little higher,
went up an octave.
Yeah. Did he really do that? Like, it didn't feel like he did that much here.
He did. Once again,
a little bit.
Kevin's been doing this role because remember, this comes out Christmas of '93. The show's been out the show has been out, so they've been recording even longer. But the show's been out for over a year now. We're at the point now where Kevin has found his
groove.
He's found the groove.
Yeah.
He's got the Bruce voices down, because the Bruce voice isn't as high as it was like with on Leather Wings. Because remember we joked about how high his Bruce voice was, and how his bat.
Hey, Doc.
And he's
what's up, Doc? Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's up, Doc? And his Batman voice, he's settled into the Batman voice. So everyone is just like, it's like a glove now at this point.
That's true. So yeah, I didn't notice like when it came to that. So that's good that he found that right there. But yes, we get that first kiss, and then of course we get to Buzz. What's his name? Buzz
Bronski.
Which looks kind of Rupert Thorne-esque.
He does look a little Rupert Thorne. You are right there. Yes.
Yeah, he definitely looks Rupert Thorne-esque. Going to the cemetery, and man, cemetery at night, not a place you want to go. For sure, because
this scene
so good.
So good. But this is creepy. Like the graveyard scene is one of, in my opinion, is the creepiest Phantasm scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Especially the way Buzz Bronski buys it.
Yeah, how he buys it, but like even when he tries to fight, man. And just like when, obviously
he falls in the grave, and he's like trying to he's trying to like climb his way
before
out.
That, when he's like, trying to throw things, and he throws like the, I think it was
the pickaxe.
The pickaxe, but it was already cut off. But he throws it, and it just goes right through like that. It's like, oh my God, that is like, it's just,
Okay.
One
thing I wish the movie did.
Explain that.
Explain that.
Yeah.
How does the mist
that's the thing.
How does that work? That's the one thing. Is like, dude. Okay, I do want an explanation.
Going to bring that up towards the end, especially because it's like, okay, what happens here? Because obviously there's like a chase sequence that happens on the rooftop that we'll get to, and stuff like that. And I'm like, is she not teleporting? Is she? I mean, when it comes to this stuff, like, what is happening? And I'm like going. And I remember when, even when I was just like watching it right now, I'm like, and I was writing notes, I'm like, they never explain how the fuck this is all happening. Because
no, they don't.
Even with Chuck, he shoots, and nothing. It's like, what is happening? Like, that is a good criticism, because it's like, it's never explained. You just go like, hey, it's Mask of the Phantasm. Take it or leave it.
Well, because remember, we're 40. Well, I'm 40. You're getting there. You're close enough.
Close. I'm a year away.
But did we question it as 11-year-olds?
No, we didn't. And that's the thing. But of course, being adults now, you kind of go like, but just maybe
Something.
with one of
Because actually, the show was actually pretty good at eventually explaining this to us.
Yeah, we got some people that are trying to explain. Let's see.
Okay. I want to hear.
Ryan says, wait, a lot from flip my. Okay, no, not that. Portable fog machine under the cape. Yeah, we get that, but how? Yeah, nah. I mean, that's it. There wasn't any.
No, I'm not talking about where the fog's coming from.
Yeah, I get the fog. The fog is
buy the fog. That's fine. But where's all this shit go? Like, why don't the bullets hit her? Or where does the pickaxe go? Because remember, because this is a cool thing. It's consistent. Yeah. When she avoids all that shit, the fog comes up.
Yeah. So there's something with that. It's almost like it's like I was like, when I was rewatching it right now, I was like, maybe like, I don't know, it's like an optical illusion in a sort, like maybe like where they see the phantasm is not exactly where the phantasm is, so maybe that's what it is. Perspective.
I don't know, because Bruce, when he's analyzing the glass shard from Chuck Norris's car, he spouts out a lot of techno babble. I've actually never sat down and looked up those words to go, what the fuck is Bruce saying?
That could be something about that could have been something right there. I know we're all like Alfred, who's just like, what? Speak English? No, what the fuck are you talking about?
Adaptogenic, of course.
That's right. I do like. There was like another Alfred, like a little poke that he did. When Bruce was in the yard, he goes, he said like, I'd hope you'd reconsider rugby, sir. Like, that was a good one too. It's like, yeah, stop that, But anyways, I'm kind of wondering about that too. But yeah. That's what makes it more freakier. And then, of course, like you said, he falls into the open grave. He's trying to climb his way out, but it's like, it's been raining. It's muddy. You can't get yourself out of that. He's scraping. And then all of a sudden you get that, you see the mist, the fog just form around that big statue with the wings, the angel, and it falls one of those wings first. So he probably got sliced in half.
Oh, he's either sliced in half or impaled.
Yeah.
One or the other.
He's just dead. He definitely dead. Obviously, his boys hear that and they start running, and then they see it.
And the sound effects of that thing falling is like, that thing sounds heavy as shit.
Uh-huh.
And then his boys show up and he's like, oh man. I'm like, these are hired killers. Like, they've offed people. And even they're looking at that going,
That's why I'm like, yeah, he probably got sliced in half, possibly, or at least partially. Yeah, some limbs.
But once again, Phantasm off in the distance, Cape waving, and that great and one of those great lines that was in the trailer. It's the bat. It's the freaking bat.
Oh man, I rewatched that trailer earlier today, and had the dude who does like the trailer voice and stuff.
Oh, the trailer voice. Oh yes,
God, it was so perfect. Yes. I thought about having it for the opening of the show, but I'm like, it's got too much of. We're already going to show a clip, and I know I'm like WB is feeling like
we don't need to get copyrighted.
We don't need to get a full copyright, but I wanted to. I was like, damn it, I would love to open today's stream with that
trailer.
It's so good.
It's so good because you spend and it's actually really funny. Like, the movie's only an hour and 16 minutes, and you realize how much of the movie's actually in that trailer.
so much. Yeah. But yeah. So we got all that, and then and then of course we get to Sal, old man Sal, Salvatore. What's his last name?
Valestra.
And of course now he's like in his, cozy little, edifice,
sipping his
tea and whatever is in his robe, and then of course he sees the papers, got the fire going, and then he just starts freaking out because it's like, oh, now two guys have been offed, and then of course, I mean, it's It's a scene where you just go, holy shit. You're like, well, this guy was a smoker. I mean, obviously, they show smoking big time in this movie, but man, he's just, he starts like,
And he's got the oxygen tank behind him. Oh man. And he's got like the liver, and man, like the liver spots all over him.
He has not aged well. He has not aged well. Sal has not. And he doesn't go out pretty well either.
No, he doesn't.
Not at all, but it's great how he goes out, I thought. But yeah, so we get that little scene right there. It's like, oh yeah. And then of course, more the last time we see Gordon, because
I'll have no part of it.
Yeah.
You want him?
Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah. The Batman doesn't kill. The Batman doesn't kill. You want him? You get him. I'll have no part of it. Door slams. Bye, Gordon. It was nice having you in the movie.
That's it. But I mean, I get it, because I mean, this is supposed to just go heavy on Bruce in the the past and his struggles and everything like that. So I get it. I really I get it. They're just like, yeah, Gordon is just Gordon, and he plays the role that he needs to play in this movie. To the fact of the matter is, like, and I love how Batman is like outside. He's outside.
He owns that moment when he's listening in. So when Bullock has the bright idea of like turning on the bat signal, and Bullock goes, he's usually here by now. Yeah. And then the Batmobile's driving away.
Yeah. Like, fuck you guys. Yeah. I know what's happening. But see, that's what's so good. It's like, all right, yeah, I get it. So like Gordon played I think even though he's not in it that much, it's like he played a really good part in it. Maybe it would have been cool to see the younger Gordon, like in the flashbacks, maybe, but we didn't get that. It's fine. It's fine.
Nah.
We've got that in other times, so it's all good. So, and then of course, oh dude, man, one of the best shots in this movie, when he goes to the cemetery and he's like looking around and at the crime scene, stuff like that. Then he walks up to the Wayne grave. Oh, that shadow, the ears in the shadow as he walks up to the Wayne grave. Oh, I was like, fuck, that is one of my favorite shots of the movie right there. Oh, so good.
Well, and then also I like that line he has going into it when he's talking into like the microphone, and it's just like, little residue of the grass probably isn't much, but it's been that kind of day.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, fuck. Yeah. And then, when he walks up to that, and that shot with the shadow just casting right over it, it's just so good. So good. And then, of course, who does he hear talking to her mother again, Andrea? Bum, bum, bum. And man, that just totally he probably peed a little.
Yeah.
In those tights, like, oh shit, man. That's not, like, oh, it's her. She's here. Oh my God. Because obviously, like, there was a little build up, like when she's on the plane and she's like headed to Gotham, and then she has the magazine cover. It's just, they both still like have this fire for each other. So
exactly,
for the fact that he actually saw her and then she puts it together right away. Good for her, because, she's like, she don't, obviously we know who Batman is, but, and then he runs off, and then she just is like, and then she looks at the tombstone,
yeah.
And shows, she's like, Bruce, and it's like, hey, good job. You put it together. You're sharp, lady. I like you.
Well, and you've got to think that she's got to remember all those moments from earlier that like she has some prior knowledge to be like, oh, okay. Because damn, she come back later, because she's a little bitchy later on, and it's good, but it's like, dang, lady, you went there, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, I have notes where I say like, oh, she gives him the business. Like, I literally put that. This is later on, of course. Well, after this scene right here, where like, she's out with Arthur. Of course, he's trying to lay the moves on her, fucking sleazeball.
Oh my God! Don't you just like?
Yeah, no. He's got a punchable animated face.
Oh my God, does he ever? And then, of course, then Batman being a little creepy.
Yeah.
Across the street in the rain with the binoculars.
Well, we saw that in March. We saw that in a new Batman movie. Remember?
Oh God, yeah, we did.
We saw a little bit something like that. So, but yeah, he's following, and he's like, it's. I love it that it's raining, and then he's looking.
Oh God, I've used that gif, like that. My
That
Rick Dalton,
gif.
like, that
Oh yeah,
gif, for the sad. That's my sad Batman gif that I
yeah. The
always
sad
use.
Batman gift. This was like because obviously we go to another flashback where they go to the Gotham World's Fair, and obviously we got to see like the happiness that Bruce had at one moment. Obviously we got the first kiss. Now they're very much they're dating and they're at the World's Fair, and it's pretty cool because we see all the different gadgets and all the technology, and then of course when Bruce just goes and sees the car that very much looks like a Batmobile, and I'm like, yeah, we talked about this with,
we talked about the mechanic episode.
yeah, the mechanic episode. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a good design. It's
a very good design. Very good design.
Mm-hmm.
So now, because when they're leaving the World's Fair, that's when they bump into the muggers, right? Trying to steal the jewelry guy's cash box.
See, and this shows Bruce's struggle again because he's just like, I got to do something. And then she's just like, all right, we'll just come back in one piece. And then, he takes him on and he's doing a good job. He does a fucking move, man, where he just leaps up and hits the top of
the top of the motorcycle.
Yeah. And then he just punches that guy right in the face. He's kicking ass. And then all of a sudden, when he's going to take on the last guy, he goes, it almost is like that when Summer Gleason in the Ninja episode where it's like, oh man, somebody's here that's witnessing this. It's going to distract me. I mean, obviously it's a little bit different because, obviously with that episode, he was already Batman, but with this, seeing Andrea right there distracts him. And then he gets a freaking,
baseball bat broken across the
or the ribs or the sternum. I don't know. He got a nice little bruise from that one, and possibly maybe even like some kind of something broke. But but I mean, it just kind of shows you, it's like, I think that was like a good representation of like, hey, if you're gonna do this life, dude, it's gonna be hard to carry on this over here
because you can't be worried about someone else worrying about you. It has to be you. The only person you have to worry about is yourself.
And I like that.
Which of course, makes the whole sidekick thing later on going. Seriously, Bruce? Really?
Come on. But I like that this flashback came after, obviously, like when she put it together, like Bruce, and she probably was like, oh yeah, remember that one time where he was like, he took on those thugs? He was kicking ass. Yeah, of course he's Batman. It's like, I like just the order of things. Again, they did a really good job with structuring this fucking story with the flashbacks. They just did such an exceptional job when it came to that. So,
but this leads into, because he goes to Alfred and he's like, I can't do this if someone's waiting on me to come home. But dude, for me, I know the scene is him becoming Batman, but for me, the scene is him on his knees in front of his parents' grave going, I know I promised. But can I do something else? Can I give more money to the cops? Can they take the risk? And the line that just rips me apart. I never expected to be happy.
Yes.
I have to know it's okay. Please tell me that it's okay. And Andrea, maybe they already have. Maybe they sent me.
Oh man. See, again, when it comes to this movie, it hits you in the feels like that because that's such a dramatic scene, such a great scene. And it's raining, of course, just to add more drama to it. But even before that, when he's talking to Alfred, it's one of those things that always stuck out. I love like when he gets upset and when he says that and he slams fist
against the door.
What does he do? He goes like this. He kind of shakes it off. And I'm like, I always like that because I'm like, yeah, that fucking hurt. We've all done that where we just go, and then it's like, fuck that, god damn it. And even Bruce Wayne goes, shit, yeah, that hurt. It's like, yeah. But yeah, then when it gets to that, oh man, that
And see, this movie, okay, I'm gonna walk into a minefield right now
do it.
because I think Dark Knight Rises is the weakest of the Nolan trilogy. Yes, in my opinion, it's the weakest of the trilogy. But do I hate Dark Knight Rises?
No.
Fuck no. No, not at all. I still enjoy that movie. The trilogy is great to me.
Yes.
And I know that one people want to complain about at the end how Nolan constructed a story where Bruce Wayne stops being Batman. And people want to give him crap for that. I'm like, this movie is all about him talking about the possibility of him giving it up.
Yeah.
And it's that scene. It's like, I never, because that one line, I never expected to be happy.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It's like, in order to be Batman, it's like, you can't really be happy. You know, you got to go out every night and just be like, yeah.
Well, why is he doing it? Because he's permanently scarred and miserable about, about the death of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens when something comes along that makes that not hurt so much?
Exactly. That's why that scene was so great. And then she just shows up, like, again, it was like perfect. And it was like that moment. She got the umbrella, and then of course when she goes on, and then she just throws down the umbrella and they embrace each other.
And they're all
dripping,
drenched in the rain.
God, yeah, that's a powerful, powerful scene right there. But and then of course when we get further along, there's a thing that we obviously she wants Bruce to meet her dad. And I love the little car phone thing. I was like, it was funny because I actually rewound it because I was like, how does that car phone work? Because it's an old timey receiver and she's like doing this something
it's like the dial is like on the.
I was like, really? Is it on the part right there? That it didn't make sense to me, but I was like, whatever works, I guess.
We didn't have car phones until the 80s anyway. What are you talking about?
True. Oh man. And then obviously when we get the first meet with Carl, right?
Carl Beaumont. Yes.
Yeah. And he's all, he's impressed because it's Bruce Wayne, obviously. And but then all of a sudden, Sal shows up and
we see even douchier young Arthur as an accountant with the
glasses and the fucking
and the little things on the sleeves and
exactly kiss ass.
God, such a kiss ass.
Such a kiss ass. But who else do we also see a young version of? Somebody with a kind of a long nose and
and a very pointy chin.
Yeah, when they're walking out, it's like, oh yeah. And it's kind of funny because that was a cool twist. I mean, when we get to it, obviously it's a cool little twist because you don't think about it. You're like, oh man, it's just some, one of the, just a henchman, a goon, whatever. We don't know who this guy is. He just looks like a douchebag. It's fine.
Because all you see him doing is he's looking at the rear view. He's just looking at the rear view mirror.
Yeah.
Like when they show up, because that scene when the gangsters show up and they just barge in and Carl is like shitting his pants because he's like, if Mr. Valestra says he has an appointment, then he has appointment. And he's just like, oh shit, this is not good.
It's not good. Not good at all. Not good at all. So, but yeah. So yeah, we had all that in the flashbacking and whatever. And then, the struggles, and it's funny too, like I said, and like when it comes to Bruce, getting a little, when it comes even with Alfred and like the line that you liked, I mean, it's now to that point. It's like, all right, you have this finely oiled machine of being Batman, doing all this stuff,
because he's been Batman. I think we've determined that now he's been Batman for at least 10 years.
Okay, yeah,
because actually he's been wrong because Robin's been around for 10 years.
Okay, that's true. That's the thing. I'm trying to figure out so he's been for it's a finally, it's a well-oiled machine, and then all of a sudden the
Yes.
past starts creeping up again, and that happiness that he once had is in his life again. And it's just like, and so Batman's struggling. That's what I like, is even present day Batman is struggling. That's why he gets a little catty with Alfred. So yeah. Let's see. Pretty fly for a Filipino guy. Thank you for the $5 super. Mentioned that Scott's headlines are yeah, yeah. You have the Phantasm eyes like right above you, which is cool. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. You don't think I've been doing that like on purpose, like all night? I mean, seriously.
Just put it right there. Say I meant that. I meant that when I made the thumbnail. No, I didn't. I had no idea. I was just trying to make a good thumbnail. Anyways, but yeah, well, so we get that struggle, the past coming back and all that stuff, and then of course he just Batman realizing that, going into Sal's place and realizing that Sal's had his fingers all throughout Gotham. You see pictures with the mayor. You see pictures of him like everywhere.
With construction. So obviously it's like
Yeah.
unions.
Yes.
I always like you get the unions, you see Mayor Hill,
Mhm.
and then you see, the board, as it were, with Chucky and Buzz, and there's Carl. And so he's involved.
That picture, it's always that picture of the group of them. So then we get another flashback, and this is where we get that proposal. Well, kind of. Bruce doesn't know how to propose. And I love this because he's just like, he knows. He's like, hey, I'm not good with this stuff. Here. He just hands her the box.
I love her line. You'll get the idea.
Yeah. You get the idea. And it's just like, okay, yeah, because he's not good with that stuff. And sure enough, it's a ring, and it's just like, and he's just
and it's
like,
a rock, by the way.
well, of course. I mean, it's Bruce Wayne. He's gonna get the best. But he's just like, so what do you say? Like, he's just like, okay,
Okay.
yeah, because obviously she's talking about like how she might have to leave, and there's all this kind of stuff, and it's like, no.
Oh, but I love the fact. Oh my, some great dialogue here. I love it.
Mm.
I didn't know what you would do with me. Like I was something because I wasn't part of the plan. And he says, "You are now. I'm changing the plan." Oh, the music! It's just so happy and
so happy. But then what happens when they embrace each other? Bats start just flying out of a crack in the ground, and it's like, nah, dude, you can't be happy. You got to be the Batman. It was just, I love that. This is another just great scene, especially when it's the flashbacks are just like some of the greatest stuff, because it just foreshadows like, no, dude, yeah, you might be happy now, but your future is flying out of the fucking cracks right now. See all those bats? That's your fucking future, bud. I just love that, because it just showed that during like one of the happiest moments that he could ever have was interrupted by a bunch of bats flying out of the ground.
And they're both so scared of the bat. So I love that that's kind of like the subtle, like what's going to inspire, fear. It's like that line of Batman Begins when Michael Caine's Alfred goes, "Why bats, sir?"
Yeah. They frighten me. Yeah.
They frighten me.
Yeah, I know. But it's just, I just love that. And I was like, oh man, it's so good. Just the way that was. It interrupted a happy moment, It's just like, good Lord.
I had to, by the way, in the scene where the diapered your bottom scene, shout out when Batman's connecting the dots between like Chucky Saul and Buzz and all of them, and he's bringing up the dummy corporations, and it's like O'Neill and Adams, Tool and Die. It's like, oh, Adams and O'Neill, Dean O'Neill, Neil Adams. Very good, thank you.
There you go.
And there's also a Puckett on and I did not look this up beforehand, because if you looked at all the names on the dummy corporations, who was it? What's the first name? Because Puckett was someone who worked Kelly Puckett was someone who worked on the tie-in comics.
Well, there you go. I love it when they fit names like that. They fit the names within the animation and everything. That's cool. I love that. And then of course, when Bruce drops her back off at at Carl's house. Obviously, I love this too because when they're like pulling in, you see like the silhouettes of them, and you could tell.
And we don't see what's going on.
No, you could tell it's bad. You could tell it's bad because you could tell like there's the guys and everything that, and then of course you got young Joker over here, douchebag. And I love how they, because he's just outside, and then
he's smoking a cigarette.
They kind of just look at each other like, again, I just love that little subtle thing because going in fresh, you have no idea who that is. But, obviously when you find out, you're like, oh, wow. Now you got to watch it again. But yeah, you see that. And
he even flicks his cigarette at the car.
Yes, he does. He does. Such a douchebag. Such a douchebag. And then, of course, we get the whole thing where, Bruce he invested, he looked down, he's like, wow, yeah, we got a cave down here. It's almost as big as the house. It's like, yeah, bud, that's going to be your lair. You're going to fit a giant coin in there and a T-Rex and
a big ass computer.
Yeah, exactly. A computer somehow. But yeah. And then, of course, this is that moment, man. It's just like, oh, because Alfred, right when he's walking up and you get that shot, and Alfred's just like, he's just like, God damn it. Because
I know, because it's like I thought this was over with, and this is.
He's all, I thought Bruce finally found happiness, but nope, he's about to get his guts ripped out right now. And sure enough, it's the box with the ring and the note saying that not happening.
Nope. So we've gone to Europe.
Yeah, gone to Europe.
And I always think it's interesting that like we don't read I still think that he's not reading the entire note. He's just just reading like the pertinent pieces. Like there's a bigger Dear John letter written there, and he just and he just gave us like the highlights.
Yeah, but that was enough to push him to the darkness, and then we get the scene. I already got goosebumps just thinking about it. But yes, we get this scene, and we have to. This is the scene that we're definitely going to watch.
And by the way, this is the score that composer broke down, like the chord progression on Batman Day. So if you saw that video that I shared, this is the scene he was playing.
So yeah, and I love how it just crossfades right. I mean, look at that. I pause it so perfectly with Bruce just like standing out there, Alfred right there, and then it crossfades right into the
Thomas and Martha.
Yes, just oh man. Right there. That score, and then it just gets to it.
And it's building to his Batman theme. I also love how it's the old costume like we saw in Robin's Reckoning.
Yep. And then he's just like, my mask.
Give it my mask, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, there it
that
is.
Shot. Oh.
And Alfred's reaction.
Yeah. And then the eyes just, God, listen to that score. My God.
Because Shirley Walker has a choir.
Yes, it's just so good. Goosebumps. That is the scene in the movie right there. Yes, Eric, I'm turned on right now. Gotta watch myself.
You are a little aroused.
Yeah, a little aroused. I'm just, luckily, it's angled so where you can't really see it. Let's see, Nate. So why can't you all review them? No, we can't watch the entire thing on YouTube. Yeah, they would. Totally
because YouTube would copyright strike. Because these movies are released for private viewing.
Exactly.
If you ever read the FBI warning that comes on before a movie, that explains why we can't do that.
Exactly. Maybe, I know Twitch is a little different. Things are a little different, but we can watch clips and do commentary on it. That is called
fair use because we're only using like less than 30 or 60 seconds, and we are providing new intellectual content by.
I will say that WBTV has not been too kind when it comes to that. When they get for the clips, they've been like, nope, we're gonna keep our little thing, and I'm like, whatever. It's so weird. Like the past 4 episodes, they've usually was good for 60 episodes, fine. And then all of a sudden they were just like, nah, we're not going to allow you to do that anymore. I don't know why. It's weird. So I don't who cares? But because I still like to have a clip when it comes to our streams, and that one we could not watch. I mean, it was like we had to watch at least that one right there. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so we get to present day World's Fair, which, wow, nobody kept that up.
No one ever does. I mean,
Yeah.
when I saw this, I was thinking about like that, the scene from Men in Black.
Yeah.
When they go back to because that's the thing. You build these giant. It's kind of famous. You build these giant World Fair grounds, and then what do you do when the World's Fair is over? Like, it's just
leave it there.
You just leave it there. I mean, it's just done.
Let it rot. And obviously we got Sal showing up.
Okay, would this have been awesome if in the trailer they hadn't told us the Joker was going to be in this movie?
Yes. If there was but of course, that's the thing. It's like trailers. I even complained about this recently with Halloween Ends. There's like a little bit of a twist that happens in Halloween Ends, which I was like, when I was watching, and I was like, oh, I see what they're trying to do here. But I know what's going to happen next because I saw it in the trailer. And I went, if I didn't see it in the trailer, this scene would have been a lot better. And that's what sucks about trailers sometimes is, I love it when there's trailers that don't give anything away and you go in there and go, oh my God, but I mean, I guess when it comes to Batman, it's like, we have to show that the Joker is in this because it's going to help sell the movie. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
because like you have there's nothing to indicate that the Joker is going to show up in this movie until Sal goes to the World's Fair. And it's such a cool, like sometimes you can play the exercise like you're watching the movie. And if this was being revealed to you in the movie for the first time, that's a really cool reveal, especially when you hear Shirley Walker's theme for the Joker, that dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it's so great. And then of course he has just great line after great line and just everything. So it's been a dog's age. I mean, just stuff like that, It's
or
just
like when they're doing the World's Fair theme, and he like uses the Tommy gun. It's like, I hate that song.
Stuff like that. Then when they go to the House of the Future, and it's still got the the robots that has the butcher knife and stuff like that. Meatloaf again. He just plays into the part, and then there's like so many times where he just like ends up like ripping like some of the fake skin on the robot or whatever the hell off, and he's just like I love how he puts it in his jacket as opposed to just toss it on the floor, dude. Everything's rotting around here. But he just he does that. It's great.
Oh my God. And I think Amari was the one who even posted on Vero. It's like, because Sal like gives him like a briefcase full of cash to take care of the Batman, and Joker's like, what do I look like? Pest control.
And you know what he calls him too, which I don't think I knew what the hell until I watched Ace Ventura 2 When Nature Calls. He calls him Guano Man. Guano Man. And I did not know the term guano until I watched Ace Ventura When Nature Calls. Guano. And he goes, that sounds so familiar. It's like, yeah. Bat droppings, or like, guano, the great white bat, guano. And I'm like, oh my God. And I didn't even realize it until I just like rewatched it right now. It's like, he called him Guano Man. That is fucking awesome. Like,
I know, right? Once again, they got away with so much crap.
Yeah, Guano Man. He called him Guano. He basically called him bat shit. It's like, what the fuck? Oh, it was so good. I was like, Jesus Christ. They got away with, they really did. He just straight out called him Guano.
Oh, but man, the way that this scene ends. So, also, before we get to that, when he goes into the roller coaster, hold on to the valuables.
Yeah, and slams it down right on his crotch. Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. And then,
Sal, that's what I like to see.
Yeah,
a nice big smile.
But even before that, we almost saw that Joker rage again, where it's like, and then he just breaks from it a little bit, like it's close up on his face.
Like the background even like turns
red. It was like, whoa, like, and then all of a sudden it just cuts to like just both of them, and he's just like, it just It's just crazy how, like, you get that Joker rage that's kind of in there. And then, of course, yeah, that nice big smile. And you're like, oh boy, that's not
That's
good.
not good. That's
That's
not
not
good.
good for Sal. That's not good for Sal. And then, of course, like, when sleazy Arthur,
Oh
takes
god.
Andrea back to her apartment, and then it's like, it's not good to go to bed on a full stomach. Yeah, you want to fill her up. I get what I get what you're
Yeah,
doing.
we get it. Yeah, we get it.
But
Yeah.
she's like, hey, my freaking balcony door is open. I got a visitor, somebody who I'd actually like to do that with. So get the fuck out of here, Arthur.
But she also kisses him. It's like, I mean, she does like the fake moaning, like it, and she's like, "Fuck you!
Yeah.
I know you're in here." You know?
Oh yeah, she wanted to totally just. I mean, this is where I said the note. She gives him the business, when it comes to this, and like they go back and forth with like, ugh, and like what are you
But that
swallowing me? What, he got me bugged? I read lips. Well, read them now. Get out, kind of thing.
and then it's like, "Are you still taking orders from your father?" As the way I see it, the only one who's still being controlled by their parents here is you. Oh, oh,
Ah, God.
oh.
She trade out just like, here's that dagger to your gut right now. I just got you. Oh, so good. But then at the same time, it was
Oh
just
my god! And then she
it
just
breaks
breaks
down.
down. Oh, because she's like, because once again, the movie hasn't told us yet what's going on with her, but she's just like, fuck no, I don't. It's like I needed to be a bitch to tell him to back off, but it's like, but no, don't do this to Bruce, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just too much for her, and it's just.
The struggle.
Oh, by the way, and she's pouring herself a drink. By the way, like.
Exactly.
So
She drops it.
booze. There's booze in this movie.
Booze in this movie also. It's great. It's so great. And then yeah, she gives him that, and then of course the Phantasm, like and then we get the
Okay.
Phantasm.
How long did it take you when you were a kid? Like when you're doing like that zoom in to Sal's building to realize that the Phantasm is like right there on the ledge, like looking at
I
it.
didn't see it the first time for sure, but yeah. It didn't. It didn't. Probably the first few watches, probably didn't even notice that. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but man, this is the first time we actually see somebody dead.
Right. And it's the first time that someone has been jokerized and they're dead from it. Like we go back to Laughing Fish. Batman saved all those guys
Yeah.
in the Laughing Fish. They're going to get better. He gives them the antitoxin. No, Sal is
Done.
he's done.
I mean, and creepy as fuck too. But when you see that reveal, he's just like, creepy. And then you got the camera that's on his lap, and then and then I love how Joker's like, guess the joke's on me. You're not Batman. Holy shit. Whoops. It's like, and I love that because it's like, oh, the Joker out of all the people figured it out. Like, yep. But he, of course, he did it in the way that he does it by killing somebody. But yeah, it's the fact that he's just like, well, the joke's on me. You're not Batman. It's like, Jesus.
But soon the news will be all over town, along with your head, your arms, your spleen.
And then, yeah, she's like, uh-oh. And then she just books it out of there and, it blows up. And then we get that, we get this cool little chase sequence with the Batwing. The Batwing shows up. I love it.
Obviously, Kevin Altieri must not have aborted this scene because you know how much he hates the Batwing.
I know, yeah, he talked about that.
Oh man, and that's just so cool. I love it when he's like typing in the code, and he jumps, jumps out, and somehow like lands on him. It doesn't like Batman jumps for some incredibly ridiculous heights in this movie, and I'm like, oh no, you're breaking something when you do that.
I love like how tonight, I was explaining this before we went live. In Southern California, there is crazy thunderstorms. There's a new thunderstorm that is just rolling in right now. I'm hearing rain. I'm hearing thunder. This is great. I love it. Just the atmosphere of talking about.
Because how many times does it rain in this movie?
Yeah, all the like pretty much almost throughout. I mean, there's a couple spots, particular this one right here when they're having their little showdown. when it comes to them. But yeah, this is what's crazy about this, because when all this is happening, obviously, Phantasm gets away, and now we got Batman dealing with the cops, getting chased
And
by
once
this.
again, this is like what happens in year one, which
Yes,
then they did in Batman Begins.
yes,
Because the Batman Begins, it all happens in Arkham, but in year one, it's him in an abandoned building, and
yes.
this is him at a construction site.
But what's so great about this is he's been Batman he's already a present day Batman. And
Yes.
everybody's just like, they're chasing him because they think that he's been knocking off all these dudes. And I mean, oh man, he goes through some struggles when it comes to this. And when it goes to that construction site, and they're firing at him. I mean, they're firing, and he's getting
Oh,
beat
when he
up.
gets beat the shit,
He's getting
he's
we got
bleeding.
blood. Ah, gotta love it. The fact that he's getting beat up like that, and then they're firing at him, and then of course, like, I love it when Bullock was like he noticed, like, oh, there's some tanks in there that gonna blow up, and he's like, whoa, wait a minute, and boom, like, fuck, you're like, Batman's just getting his ass kicked by this, because he gets blown back like that. He is like, just
Oh, I love Bullock going, "You jerk!"
yeah, exactly. Get a light up there. It's just like, he's just, even Bullock's like, dude, all right, guys, yeah, we're kind of trying to get him, but let's not freaking blow him to smithereens. Come on. Because obviously he knows. I mean, it's Gordon's dude,
It's
obviously.
like, we're trying to arrest him.
Yes,
Like,
not.
now you can tell that Arthur made sure that they could authorize lethal force,
Yeah.
but you can tell from Bullock, it's like, no, I'm trying to arrest this guy. I'm not trying to like kill him.
And what's also great too is, like, okay, so we've seen this happen a few times where Batman does the whole cape and cowl distraction, and he does a good job with this one. But what I love is, I mean, obviously, when it came to the Worry Men, which was funny, it was like, oh yeah, we went on and we determined that there was probably another cape and cowl that he used. So it's like, because I was like, wait, did he have like an alternate one? But this time, when he uses the cape and cowl and he straps it to some
A sawhorse.
sawhorse, that's what it's called. And they're firing at it. And then so now Bruce is no cape, no cowl, running from the cops, beat up. He's torn, he's bleeding. Oh, I was like, fuck, this is so good. It's just so good. It's like one
Because
of
if
the
they
best,
catch up with him, they're gonna figure out who he is.
exactly. God damn it. So now he's got to worry about that. And man, and he's getting to a point where it's like he might not be able to like last, because he's putting all his every ounce of energy he can, and it's getting bad. So he's like jumping the fence, he's trying to get out of there and all this stuff like that. But luckily, Andrea, showed
She
up.
just happens to know where he is.
Yeah, it's all over the news. Wink. Yeah, all over the news, huh? Or
Yeah,
you
but
escape.
poor Bullock, man, that dude's like,
Dude,
I love how
shot.
that shot. It's like a push in on Bullock, and dude, the
What?
sweat is dripping, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, notice we never see Bullock again after this.
That's that. That's it. That was the last good Bullock shot. But yeah, I even wrote that down too. I'm like, damn, great shot of Bullock right there. Just like, fuck, I almost had him. I've been like, I know
And
it's
also,
Gordon
I'm about to keel over because I'm
Yeah, I
not used
know.
to this cardio.
Exactly. He's like, yeah, he slept well tonight. That night, that's for damn sure. But yeah, she gets him there, takes him back to Wayne Manor, and they got him all bandaged up. Of course, he's still wearing like the bottoms and everything like that. And then, sure enough, obviously she's talking about things. She's talking about, like, that she had to leave and doing all that stuff, and yeah, and then of course we get another, kissy scene, and then Alfred, oh shit, damn it, again. Like, I wasn't supposed to, always bad time.
But then there's like the crossfade. It's the next morning.
Yeah.
We've got the classic movie of they had sex because now she's wearing a man's shirt
Yeah.
with what underneath it, I don't know, because
Probably
nothing, because all we see are legs and a man's shirt.
That's it. And then of course he comes out and embraces her, and I mean, it's just like, again, I just love the story structure, because it's like, oh yeah, Bruce, there's that happiness that you haven't had. I mean, maybe you had a little bit with Selena, maybe with some prior relationships, there was a little bit of that, but you weren't as happy as you were with Andrea. That's for damn sure. So, oh,
Which
just
is
like
why tangent. I can't wait to read Tom King's Batman Catwoman because I want to know how does he work Andrea into that story, especially since that's all about Batman and Catwoman like getting married, and it's like I am
good
really looking
point.
forward to see how Tom King like
Good point. I'm gonna have to
did
like
that in
see what
that
that
book.
how that plays out too. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that because yeah, they go heavy into that. Whew, they go heavy for sure. Um, but yeah, Andrea then, when when she was explaining all that, and then of course when she leaves, everything's all good, everything seems all good. I love it, I love that. It's like they're just like, oh, maybe this could
Oh,
work
by the way,
again.
there's a great little foreshadowing in there when he
Hmm,
goes, it's going to come down between, me and your father. And
true.
she says the line, it's okay. Daddy doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. It's a good line right there because obviously, she's trying to
He's
make it.
been dead for years at
He's been
this
dead for a
point.
bit. He's been dead for a bit. And yeah, and then all of a sudden we get that that cool little scene with obviously, Bruce is still, still Bruce. It's present day Bruce. So he's like, but still, like, what is happening here? And then he sees that group shot and he goes, wait a minute. And he
And I
takes
love how
that.
he grabs the red pencil.
Yes, the red color pencil and just draws and he goes, and then all of a sudden they shoot it and you just hear the laugh with the picture. So good. It's such a cool little reveal. It's like, oh damn, there it is. Young Joker before he was Joker was part of this group, and it was like,
Okay, so let me ask you. I'm really curious. I love the fact that we never get a name for him. And, technically we've seen that his name is Jack Napier from
yeah,
the Joker's Millions.
that's what it
No,
was. Yeah,
Joker's Wild. Joker's Millions is a season 3 episode. The Joker's Wild, it was the casino episode that we watched in season 1. So we know that his name is Jack Napier, and they also mentioned it in Dreams in Darkness when Batman was locked up at Arkham.
yeah.
So that's his name. But I love the fact that as far as backstory for Joker goes in the animated series, you get this, and we get one shot of Ace Chemicals, like I think it's in the Creeper episode or something, like because there's a Creeper episode in season 3.
Yeah.
But I love how like that's it. So how did you feel about getting at least this much of like a quote Joker origin story, as in who he was before he was the Joker?
I liked it because when that reveal happened, and because I didn't see it coming when I was younger and saw this in the theater, I think both me and my dad were like, "Oh shit," and it was just one of those things where it's like when you watch it again, you go like, "Oh my god, look at that! It was right there. The nose is the same, everything's the same except for not the the white skin, and everything in the Joker makeup." So it's just like I like it. I like it. I'm okay with it. I like the fact that he, if they're going to incorporate Joker in this type of story, I thought it was a great twist in the fact that and the way that they revealed it with Bruce just drawing the Joker smile on there, and then when they show that you hear that awesome
The
laugh from Mark Hamill. And it's like I thought that was I really like it. I really like how
I like it too. It also justifies him being in this movie.
Exactly.
And then of course then they cut to Arthur's office, and this is another creepy scene. I gotta be honest. Because I mean that scene where he opens the door and it like does like the I don't know what the editing technique is, but it's like the cut, and
Yeah.
it's like it's almost like a jump. It's like a jump of
Like a jump
focus.
cut. It's a jump cut.
Yeah, and because that's another great gif of like the lightning behind him and him smiling.
Oh, it's so good. And then they have like this exchange. And Arthur trying to be like, oh, what are you talking about? I just worked for car. It's like, dude, stop it. Stop playing. We know you're full of shit. You're sleaze and everything. And Joker knows this too. And I love this scene because when Andrea calls And I just love how Joker is just like, oh, you know, and he's just like, oh, you know, I think he called her like the
The
spawn out
babe.
oh yeah, the babe, and he called her that, and then like said like the spawn out of his loins or something like that. I don't know.
And
He
the
said some,
spawn of his loins
yes,
just
exactly,
happens to call.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
I really can't fucking quote this entire movie with inflection. It's sad, Dave.
No,
It's
it's great.
sad.
It's not sad. It's great. But I love the fact that he's just like, yeah, answer it. And then he's just like, you know, he's just like, and then he's just smiling the whole time, and he's just like,
Oh no, he even does this. He even does like the Superman pose and goes,
yeah, yeah. And he's just so like, he's just enjoying himself because he's like, oh my God, yeah, this is getting better and better. I'm enjoying this. Yeah. I really
what a
like,
coinky
yeah,
dink. We're here talking, and the spawn of his loins just
that's what
happens
it
to
is.
call.
Oh,
Makes you kind of want to laugh, doesn't it? And by the
God.
way, did you notice that when you're getting the crazy like crossfade between Joker laughing and that you're seeing a silhouette of a shadow of him, I assume taking on a needle and stabbing Arthur with the Joker venom?
Dude, that whole thing was like, oh my, because then it merges Joker's laugh with Arthur's crazy maniacal fucking laugh that is even more high pitched. It seems like Jesus Christ, it is insane. Like I was like, I was like, yeah, I remember this scene big time because I always found it funny because he just was just losing his mind, and all of a sudden we're like cut to, you know, it goes transitions right into him at the hospital, just losing his mind, and they finally give him, you know,
A
a sedative.
sedative?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's okay. And then all of a sudden, Batman shows up, and he's just like, "Oh no!" I just, it just would always make me laugh as a kid because it's a serious scene. You got Batman showing up trying to grill you, and he's just like trying to explain all this while just like holding back laughter. It's like,
Okay. So I have a question. So
okay,
of course, this of course explains the whole thing that the reason Arthur's tied into this is Arthur sold Carl out
yeah,
because he asked for money and Carl told him to go fuck himself. And then Arthur went, well, fuck you. I'm going to sell you out to, I'm going to get the money I need by selling the information of where you are to Sal and Chuck and Buzz. And I'm going to give it back. But Batman's in there. The more he's there, the more he's antagonizing Arthur. That sedative is not kicking in.
no.
And that Joker venom is just continuing to pump through him. Does Batman kind of inadvertently like kill Arthur? I've always questioned that.
You know what?
Like,
That's a good
because
question.
he
That is a
loses
good
his
question.
shit. He
Yeah.
loses his shit at the end of this scene. And the whole point is the doctor saying is we got to calm you down because they did inject him. They do inject him with the anti-venom.
Yeah.
So obviously Batman has shared anti-Joker toxin with Gotham City Hospitals. Good on him. But you have to give the antitoxin time to run its course. And I'm kind of wondering, like, did Batman just say, fuck you?
Yeah. He was just like, you know, fuck this guy. You know, you're trying to move in on my girl. Maybe there was a little bit of that because he saw that he was trying to move in on her.
I don't know. You can argue that, you know, probably the doctor
Yeah.
saved him, but still, there's always been a question in my mind. It's like,
Did he live?
did he live?
Yeah. Maybe he did because he was at a hospital. I would say, you know, he's fine. I don't know. Yeah.
Those guys
are fine. Those guys
are fine.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That is interesting.
It's always a question I've had. I'm just
yeah. I never really thought about that because I think I always assumed that he was okay because he was at a hospital. So maybe that's why Batman was like, fuck you, man. I'm out. You know, you're going crazy again. And then of course the doctors came back. Yeah. But that was just, God, the transition from the previous scene into that scene. It's just so good. Just two great fucking scenes. There's a lot of great scenes in there.
And then it cuts to Andrea's apartment where Batman's investigating, and then the Joker calls. And I'm kind of figuring out. Hold on one second. Sorry.
It's okay.
But I'm always kind of curious. When does Batman figure out that Andrea is the Phantasm?
I think
I think it's there when between the information that Carl got sold up to the mob by Arthur, so the mob knew where he was. So Batman goes, that's not good.
I think like talking to Arthur, he probably already had it in the back of his head, like, oh shit. And then when he
But
went to
then when Joker calls, it's like,
oh, there it is, because Joker knew before, and it's just like, oh, and then all of a sudden, but yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, this scene right here where he just sends like one of the future planes, like little, I guess you could say it's almost like a drone, pretty much, and with a fucking bomb on it, and Batman's just like, oh shit, and just throws a freaking Batman star, ninja star, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
I always love that shot of him just like blows up and he just like hits the back of the wall and falls to the ground. I always thought that
I always thought the phone dangling there going,
yeah.
Operator, I fear my party's been disconnected.
Oh man, God, this movie's so good. It's so fun.
I'm sending a fun little package to you, air mail.
Yeah, and then of course we get then we finally, it's like, all right, it's pretty much revealed that it's her. So we see her show up to the World's Fair, and she's wearing
the black jumpsuit,
and we're like, and then we get the flashback of what we didn't see when it came to the flashback earlier, when she shows up and she bursts into the room like, hey Dad, what's going on? And then he's all nervous and everything, and Sal's being a creep and everybody's being a creep. And I love it. Like, well, I think it was even before that where like even the young Joker went, he gave her like one of those. They're all
she's like, yeah, they're all creepy. And then of course, then there's she's walking into their Mediterranean. She's walking into their Mediterranean because she already explained all that earlier during the bow chicka bow bow scene. But this is where we get the thing where she walks up. Like, this is supposed to be our reveal that he's dead, because she walks up to their home in Europe and the pre-Joker is walking out and she's like,
yeah,
what?
He paid
you.
And then she like drop, and it's always funny too, because one of those things where I just notice anytime that somebody has a grocery bag,
there's always a loaf of bread sticking out the side.
There's always two. It almost seems like two loaves of bread that aren't covered. It's just, hey, you just stick them in there. It's like, hey, it's bread. Air is not kind to bread. Cover your bread. Wrap it up. Anyways,
but still, how about being a cold-hearted bastard? She drops it. She goes in. I don't even want to think about what her father looks like because this guy was the one who did it, and he literally just picks the apple off and takes a bite and walks away. And I'm like,
he's a that's just that I love that,
he's
because
a sociopath.
Because he's such, exactly. He doesn't feel any kind of whatever. He's like, I had a job. That's my job. I don't give a shit. I killed the dude. Good for you. Oh, hey, there's an apple. I'm gonna eat it. Yeah, it's
like, I'm all peckish right now.
Like, just cold blooded right there. Love it. And then okay, so when we get the showdown between Phantasm and Joker, it's cool. Obviously Joker making this joke. Was this the first time that we actually saw the acid out of the flower? Did we see that in Batman in the series?
He's done gas out of the flower.
I don't know if it's been acid.
Acid.
I don't think he has.
Because
I think that standards and
I don't know. That's a good question. I know we've seen the Joker gas come out of the flower, but I don't know if we've seen the acid. That's a very good question. And now I don't have time to go back through 65 episodes to remember if we've seen the acid or not.
Do it right now and get back to me, damn it. No, but
that's cool though. But I love when they're fighting. I also like when he goes, what's the line he says? Like, it's like, the cape's a little bit much though, but hey, who am I to talk?
He goes like, it's a little, he talks about the capes, like, and he talks about the whole costume being like, the theatrics of it. And it was like, who am I to talk? Pretty much going like, dude, you're
but I also love it when he does it where it's like, who am I to talk? And then it's like he tries to do a sucker punch and she just like knees him and like, oh, by the way, something we didn't see in like Harley and Ivy. Oh no, we see him get it right in the nuts.
Yes. And he goes, yeah, like, Good God. He makes a noise. Oh, good on Mark Hamill for making the perfect noise where you feel that. Any guy would be like, yep, that's
But
exactly
she
the noise.
slide, but you see her like
Yeah.
slide the leg, so the knee
Boom.
is going right there.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. I know. I wrote that too. I was like, first time seeing acid flower and kick to the balls? Like, possibly. This is the movie. PG, everybody. Oh, man. But then, and then it's funny too because I love how like even like he gets the Joker is so it's always funny because obviously he's like rigged this hideout with explosives, but he's also rigged like the butcher wife robot to be all like do all that kind of thing.
Okay, and also the fact that he bitch slaps her with the baloney.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, there was that whole thing too. I like first off, bologna's gross. When like he has like a whole big thing of bologna and he like puts it right there as she's chopping and eats a piece. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Is that how you
Isn't
stay
that
fit?
always the way? Once you get in the mood, company comes by.
Yeah. Joker is always, again with the theatrics, even like when he's by himself, he's just like still just like he's putting on a performance.
Cuckoo.
He's just that's how crazy he is. And again, anybody who just eats straight up bologna like that, I don't want to even talk
No,
to
no,
them.
you're a psychopath.
I've never been a bologna person. Were you ever a
Me
bologna?
neither.
Dude,
No,
I never
no.
got it. Never understood it. Anytime there's like bologna sandwiches, I'm like, no, that's not for me. I'm like, what? Like,
Give
why?
me ham, give me turkey, give me roast beef.
Give me all that all day, every day. Bologna, get the fuck out of here. I don't even want to know what that is. Never was on bologna. Bologna, mustard, and all that shit. Fuck you. Get out of here. Ugh. So yeah, I was like, yeah, Joker. I loved how they chose that as the meat, bologna. I'm like, they probably
Okay,
knew.
so once again, here we go with the magic mist where she just appears. It's like it looks like she's like you said earlier, it looks like she's teleporting.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, I know. I was like, yeah, they don't explain that in this movie. Maybe somebody eventually will. I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
Jesus Christ. But of course, when they do all this, and they have their little fight, he turns on a big fan that's gonna be like
No, I want you to meet your biggest fan.
yeah, of course. There's always the punchline, and then there's a point where he doesn't have a punchline, which I love that line. Which is also, I guess, a punchline too, in and of itself. But anyways, yeah, you have that, and then of course, Batman, being, badass that he is, he just comes. Hey, he's on the bat
He's on the
bike.
motorcycle.
It's not raining. That's good. Finally, because we've been making that joke throughout season 1. Is the fact that it's like Batman's always riding his motorcycle when it's freaking raining. Doesn't make sense. Not raining this time, even though it's been raining throughout this movie. And
Dude, this move he does, where first the wind's pulling him in, and then he just like straightens out and goes right into it, and then like pops the wheelie at the end and throws the bike into the fan. And it's so good. And I also love it because he does it. He's ready for it. Andrea falls, is like, oh, and he just lands like Spider-Man. He's like,
yeah, because he's Batman. Which was great. And then he just basically is just, trying to talk her down, like, hey, get out of here. It's not worth it. Don't do this stuff. What are you doing? Don't, obviously she challenges him again with his ethics, I guess you could say, with the whole not killing and all this stuff.
but not just the not killing thing, but it's also like, this is vengeance.
Yes.
And she's like, what do you, if anyone would understand that, it would be you.
Exactly. So it's like one of those things, and that's again, so I love the writing of this freaking movie, is the fact that it challenges him throughout. Challenges. This girl's like going, hey, I love you, and what you're doing, and your whole code and everything like that, is that the right thing? Is it?
I love the fact he keeps calling her Andy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Andy.
Because it's good.
Oh man. And then I love it how she like disappears. And then you think it's just gonna be like a Batman Joker showdown for the rest of the movie.
Which is great. And we get into like this whole, like, I love this scene right here. One of my favorite scenes too is like when you got the models, the Gotham model which
You
almost
see the little WB logo.
of course, all that right there. It's like right there in frame. It's like, oh yeah, of course, right there. And then of course and I love like Joker's like wearing,
Basically, what's the Chrysler Building?
Yes,
Like that's.
and he's just like moving.
Oh, I also love the scores going.
Dun, dun. So it's a good Joker and Batman showdown. Probably it's the best.
I mean, I love it how he takes the Chrysler Building thing off of his top and uses it as like a baseball bat and like smashes him.
Yeah.
And then he tries to stab him with it. And then, oh my God, the greatest moment. Batman just kicks him like he's laughing right in the jaw. And the tooth
pops a tooth out. Oh,
but not only does he pop the tooth out, you see the bloodstream like arcing with the tooth. I mean, it's like in the air. And that's when you're like, oh,
yes. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
And then he's like there laughing, missing a tooth, and the blood's dripping out of his mouth, it's dripping out of his nose. Of course, then all he has to do is like and suddenly like all the blood's gone.
Yeah, of course. It just wipes off on the glove, of course. And then when the little planes come, well, it was kind of funny too, because I know what they were trying to do when it came to them fighting. It's like, it's like
it's
a
kaiju movie.
Yeah, the kaiju movie kind of thing. So they were trying to do that, which is funny. I get it. But then of course the planes come, and then we get Batman straight up just knuckles one of them and just boom, and you see blood.
And you see the blood splatter in the air.
And you're just like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I remember just as a kid going, there was blood, like just the blood. I was like, because obviously when this came out in 1993. Remember, like Mortal Kombat probably came out a little bit before
95.
that. Yeah, it came out.
The movie was 95.
Okay, I'm talking about the game and the blood code of the game. That was always a big thing, the blood code, and I still remember it to this day on Sega Genesis. ABACABB. That's what it is. Anyways, always going to be tattooed right in there.
That's fine. I got the Konami code like melted in my brain.
It's just one of those things where you just
up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. I mean,
see, yours is a little more complicated than the blood code on Sega Genesis. But so we have that, and blood, and it's just great. And then of course we get Joker with the jetpack, and it's just
I love that because I mean this was 2 years after Rocketeer.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what I thought about too. It gave me Rocketeer vibes, and then the fact that Batman jumps on him, and they're just like going all through, and like Joker is getting so upset with Batman of like, what are you doing? Like, stop what you're doing. And then
there's 20 miles of tunnels under this place, and they're all rigged with high explosives.
So he gives that little exposition of like, okay, this whole place is gonna end up blowing up. But then and then when they get on that whole thing, and I just love that, when he goes like, hey, let go, if at least, if one of us is going to die, or he says something like that, where it's like,
let's go, we both die.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes,
whatever it takes. And he just
I love how he just goes, and he just pulls them, and then they just go like right through the globe thing, and then they come crashing through that. Oh man, just such a good Batman and Joker showdown.
For once, I'm stuck without a punchline.
Exactly. That's what. And then of course, who shows up? Well, here comes Andrea.
I've already surrendered. Tell her, I love he's like, tell her, Bats.
Exactly. It's like he's done. Joker's done. He's like, I tried. I already got paid. What do you guys want to do? And then all of a sudden, of course, everything starts blowing up, and we all know that the explosions in Batman the Animated Series are great, and they're even better when it comes to
on a movie budget.
Yes, a movie budget has better sound, better, just looks good. And then I just love how Joker just starts laughing maniacally.
Laughing his ass off.
Because he's just like, he probably goes, I'm gonna die. Fuck it, I'm gonna die laughing. Of course.
And of course, choir.
Oh, so good. So good. It's just so good. The way that it all sounds and everything like that. And then, of course, she does her little misty like disappear thing and blah blah blah, and it's just like,
And which, by the way, which is what I love about the part of the annual I have read is that it does explain what happened there.
okay, explain to us what happened because I'm trying to remember because I think I have
Uh,
that issue.
she, uh, she, you know, the sewer that Batman
Yeah,
ends up
that
in.
Batman escapes in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she just basically went down.
okay, and Joker
They got like it was like one of the they
separated.
fell down and they got separated.
Okay, see, there you go. That's why Joker lives. Joker always gets away. But yeah, it's and I love the shot, like, you know, when Batman, you know, washes out to sea or whatever the hell it is, and then he
Oh,
just like rises
the
up
dock, you know,
the
the
dock, whatever.
pier, the
But I just
harbor,
like how
whatever.
when he rises up and you
Oh, and
know,
then the explosions are
oh, you
going
see the
off.
shot. It's such a good shot.
All the colors, all the
No,
colors.
it's so good. It's so good. And then, you know, back to the Batcave, and this is where we get that good Alfred talk. You
The
know,
pep talk, the
the pep
Alfred.
talk.
She fell in every day. You walk into that abyss. And I forgot what was this is the one part I can't remember the exact line, but it's such a
Yeah.
great line. You walk the edge of that abyss every night.
Yes.
Yeah. But she fell into that abyss years ago.
Yes. Basically just saying like, no, what you're doing is good. Don't fall into the abyss of killing people. Again, going by the code and stuff like that, which I know people get, but again, you know, when it came to like BVS and stuff like
That
that,
whole point was it was wrong.
yeah, that the fact that it's like, dude, what are you doing? You're not doing your code anymore. I mean, that's, anyways, I mean, that's just, it's so good. And, you know, obviously Bruce is just like, he's so freaking devastated and all this stuff. He's worn out. He's, you know, bruised up, you know, scratched up and everything. And then God, that little sparkle, a little sparkle in the Batcave. Oh,
Oh,
just hit him.
and the score is like
Yes.
it's so hopeful, and he grabs it, and
Finds
apparently
the necklace.
was
Yeah.
in the Batcave and left left the locket
Oh,
with
yeah.
their picture.
Mm.
Oh man.
Yeah. God, it hits you right in the feels. That hits you right in the feels. And then of course it just cuts to like, oh, you know, a boat out there. And then yeah, there's like a dude that walks out after, I don't know, it almost looks like a New Year's
Eve
party.
party?
Yeah.
Kinda,
Almost
yeah.
kind of feels like that. And then he's just like, oh, hey, there's a lady out here. And then, you know, and then he realizes like, oh wait, this woman looks sad as
What
shit.
well, she's wearing a
Yeah.
veil.
Yeah. She's wearing a veil and she's
Oh
like,
god, and the line like, "Do you want to be alone?"
oh,
I am.
oh, oh, so good. And then of course we get the wrap up shot, you know. I think we have to play the wrap up shot though, because it's
As
so,
long as you don't get copyrighted, let's
I
do
think
it.
we'll be okay. I think we'll be all right. It's whatever. But just because it's just I don't know, it's just pretty cool because it, like, you know, it shows
It's like
him.
this is the way you end a Batman movie,
It's a
you
way.
know.
It's a great way to end it right here, and you know, it's just good because he's sad. But then it's like, dude, you have you know, I got a job to do. Look at how sad he looks right there. But then it's just dun, dun,
Dun,
dun.
dun, dun,
God,
dun, dun, dun,
that
dun,
score. Ugh,
dun. And it gets faster.
yeah. Dun, dun, and then hear that grappling.
Oh yeah, that cape.
Pew! Yeah. It's so good. And then the song for the credits. Wow, talk about a sexy saxophone.
Oh my god! And do you know who's singing that?
No,
You don't know.
I don't know. I haven't listened to it. Who
Okay,
is it?
the song is called "I Never Even Told You."
Mm-hmm.
It is sung by Tia Carrere.
Oh wow, Jesus Christ. Wow, I'll have to listen to it because it was funny because it was like when I was, you know, done and I was like writing my last note and then it started playing and I was like, Jesus Christ, they have like this 90s saxophone action happening with this song. And I even wrote that. I was like, saxophone ending song. It's like, but I didn't hear any of the words. Wow, I didn't know. I'll have to listen to that when we're done.
Oh yeah, it is so 90s. It is
Yeah.
so
Pure
90s.
90s. Oh, you'd think
Oh,
they
God.
would just end it with like Shirley Walker stuff. No, they decided Now let's end it with this. Tia Carrere. Wow.
Tia Carrere. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a nice. I was like, I bet you Dave doesn't know this.
I
This
did
little
not.
bit.
I did not know that at all. Wow.
Yeah, it's always an interesting choice. I did finally get to see this in theaters back in 2018 when they did the 25th anniversary. Excuse me. What's the Fathom event? They did the 25th Fathom event, and I went with the other Dave. I know a lot of Tims, and I know a couple of Daves, but yeah, but Dave and his Dave from DC on Screen and his wife. We all live in the Birmingham area, so he came and picked me up, and we went and saw it together. And we ended up recording a review for DC on Screen in his car.
Wow, nice.
So, because I've talked about this on DC on Screen, this was also when the Blu-ray came out. This was my first appearance on Lisa's I Love That Movie podcast, which I was just on recently talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. My very first appearance was talking about Mask of the Phantasm. So, yeah, I've talked about this movie a lot.
Yes, it's just so. Again, I mean, the flashbacks, the present day, it's just balanced so very well. And again, hour and 16 minutes. And we got to, subtract some of that for opening and closing credits. So maybe like an hour and 11, 12, whatever the hell. I mean, it's a short movie, but it's just like they just knew the story.
Tight.
It's so tight, and it's so, we have like little gripes, but not to story. Story.
No, it's never story. It's just they didn't use the best animation possible. Because episodes were animated better.
Yeah.
And what the fuck's up with that fog? That's just, like, how does Andrea magically appear and disappear? I mean,
that's all we want to know. But other than that, man, Mask of the Phantasm is it's just up there, man. Like you said, it's your favorite all-time Batman movie, even like with the Nolans and the BVSs and everything.
Yeah, if you're talking about solo I'm not even sure I can say even solo. Like, I think if you say favorite Batman movie, Mask of the Phantasm. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, there's not a.
I don't know if it's mine. I still like Dark Knight. Still just it's up there, and like But when it comes to if it's top 5, yeah. For sure, this would be in there. So we're including this. Yeah, it's up there because, again, there's just so many feels that it goes through, and
it's so funny. The first time I watched this, we rented it from a video store, and I remember we got to the end, and I looked at my dad, and I was like, "I loved that." And my dad was like, "But it was so sad." And my reaction to me, I was like 11, 12. I went, "I know, right?" And I was
that's what it's supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be. And I remember my dad looking at me like, okay. And I'm just, and like, if all you needed to understand about my preference for tone in a movie was that my 11, 12-year-old self looked at this movie and went, give me more of that in a movie.
God, so good, so good. But yeah, there you go, guys. There's Mask of the Phantasm right there. Discussion, a little over 2 hours, of course. That's why we did it on a Saturday. My God. But man, yeah.
How was the chat? I mean, we got the chat more involved tonight. So.
We did a little chat, obviously, it's just like, I love how Eric said, like, smoking, booze, sex, blood, death, and it's PG. Everybody, yes.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Yeah, they pulled that off. Yeah, exactly. It was
Sax Man from Lost Boys. Oh, yes. Great callback. I love that.
Just stuff like that. Yeah, it's a Batman film. It definitely is. Dang, I didn't know you could get the soundtrack. Well, there you go.
Okay. There's stipulations on that. Okay. Yeah. There is a truncated release that is commercially available. You can download it on iTunes. You can buy the CD. This, however, was a limited edition release from La La Land Records that is the complete score with extended, either unreleased or extended tracks that were not originally available. This is out of print. Dave knows I went on eBay and I found somebody who was selling this, and it was in great condition, but I was not going to have an inferior soundtrack. I wanted to have the complete thing. And the problem was, by the time I even discovered that that this existed from La La Land Records in like sometime in the 2000s, it was already sold out and out of print by the time I even knew of its existence. So, but
There you go.
It's a great, because it's just full of expand. Almost every track on here on this limited edition release has previously unreleased material that makes it the complete score. Because the soundtrack CD lasts 62 minutes and 5 seconds, so it's almost the entire length of the movie.
I love that. I love that. It's like almost the entire. It's good stuff. All right, so there you go. So I guess when it comes to Batman the Fan-imated Shroom, we're gonna be creeping right into season 2 next week.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I guess we will be returning back to our Sunday time next weekend.
Sunday time, normal time. We'll start we'll start talking about the season 2, episode 1, and we'll do that. And
which I know what it is, by the way.
What is it?
Okay. Once again, remember, we're going in production order. Reminder, as we launch into season 2, we are a production order stream. So if we go in production order, the first episode of season 2 is Sideshow.
Oh, okay. So that's the Croc.
It's a Croc episode. Yes, it is.
Yes, Croc episode. Yes. I was like, yeah, I remember that episode. Yeah, okay. Good episode to start with,
It is actually a really good Croc episode. I really enjoy Sideshow.
Wow, there you go. I like it. Okay, so Eric brought up Julia Roberts as Batflex Andrea. What do you see? What do you think, Scott? Julia Roberts?
I don't see Julia. I don't see that as a Julia Roberts.
Yeah, I don't really see that either. I know it's hard when it comes to like thinking about redheads and everything like that. I mean, I guess she doesn't have to be a redhead. It could be anybody, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll think about that and we'll report back to everybody. But we have anything else you want to say about Mask of the Phantasm?
I think everything he has. We've talked 2 hours and 15 minutes about a 1 hour 16-minute movie. So let's.
Dude, that's just how great this fucking movie is, man. And then I found myself going like, I didn't write the normal notes that I do because obviously each episode I'm like,
I didn't write any notes. I'm like, I don't have to.
Dude, I wrote just bullet points of just like, okay, there's this scene, there's that scene, and then there's little things, but it was just like I was just watching going, God damn, this movie. I just love this fucking movie. I just love the beats and everything and how it flows and the story elements. It's just, again, it's just really.
If you ever get the Blu-ray, I know you watched on HBO Max, but if you get the Blu-ray, you got to give this you really do need to give this a 4x3 watch. I'm just saying.
I definitely got to do that. So, but anyways, guys, all right. Well, this has been a lot of fun, for the Saturday nights, nerding out about Batman Mask of the Phantasm. And go ahead, Scott, send us off.
Of course, you can find me on Twitter at ScottDC27. You can find my podcast at DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found. Our next episode will be our review of Black Adam, coming out Friday or Saturday. We're even going to try to record on Thursday night when we both get back from the movie, but we'll see how that happens. But it's coming next weekend. Of course, we're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. And of course, we're here at our normal bat time on Sunday at 9 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Pacific, where next week we'll be talking about the first episode of season 2, Sideshow.
Like it. There it is. All right, guys, smash that like, thumbs up. And again, anybody who wanted to purchase the shirt that Scott was wearing, I know somebody asked about it first. It is down below in the Film Junkie closet to do so. If you want to join, become a member, do so. You can do all that. It's got the Patreon, I got all the social media down there. And yes, guys, we'll see you next week at the normal bat time, normal bat channel, which is, always this. Anyways, Mask of the Phantasm. Watch it tonight if you didn't. We'll talk to you later. Yes.